Hello and welcome back to yet another Mario Party minigame review. Are you sick of them yet? I hope not, because we're about to embark on an adventure to review every Mario Party 3 minigame. And you know what they say, the third time's the charm. Hopefully it applies to the Mario Party series as well. Up first is Aces High, a free-for-all minigame. Everyone flies around on planes and tries to shoot down their opponents without being shot down themselves. Now let's see how it is.
This was a pretty good minigame to start off the series. It kind of reminded me of Torpedo Targets from Mario Party 2, and a little bit of Shell Shocked. Just maybe not as good as Shell Shocked.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's quite as good as Shell Shocked, but it's way better than Torpedo Targets. I don't think either of us liked that one. This one is just like a overall very much improved version of Torpedo Targets, I think. Instead of being underwater, you're in the sky, but really there's not much difference. You can still go wherever you want. I think a lot of the reason why this one's so much better is because the controls just work way better than they did in Torpedo Targets.
The controls did work much better, and the scenery, even though you are in the sky, was still a lot better, and you had more of a frame of reference of where you were and where the other players were, and it was just easier to see. This one was so much better.
Yeah, I think having the speed of an airplane really helped a lot because you wouldn't have to spend a ton of time turning around. You'd be able to pretty much look wherever you wanted as quickly as you wanted.
This one was a lot like Shell Shocked too, although there was not as much stuff to hide behind, whereas that one you could have a little bit more strategy, and this one was more just shooting.
Yeah, but the shooting was interesting. You had your regular shot, but you also had your more powerful bullet bill shot. You would have to hold down the shoot button and it would take a lot longer, so that is a negative. But it would home in on the enemies pretty well, so you were way more likely to hit someone.
Oh yeah, that was a huge improvement. I feel like without that, I would not have liked the game nearly as much.
So overall, this was a pretty good one to start with. You get to fly around a plane and shoot your enemies, and there's really not a whole lot of downsides to this one. There's a little bit of strategy in choosing which weapon you want to use, and making sure you stay out of the line of fire from other players, but that makes it a lot of fun. I'm glad we started out with this one. Let's give it 4 stars out of 5.
Yay! Well, thank you all for coming back and joining us for the beginning of Mario Party 3. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. That way you'll be notified for all of our new reviews. Up next, we've got All Fired Up, which I feel like I am!
Me too. Starting off with such a good minigame has me ready for more.
Same. Hope to see you then. Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. I'm pretty jazzed about today's minigame. It's got me all fired up to play it. You guessed it. It's the battle minigame All Fired Up. This one's simple. There's a group of Potobos jumping around and your job is to avoid them. Be the last one standing and all the coins are yours.
Well, so far we're 2 in a row for fun minigames because I really liked this one.
Me too! I'm just shocked.
Yeah, it's like they took Hot Rope Jump from Mario Party 1 and 2 and just amped it up a little more. Instead of hitting A to just jump over the jump rope, now you have to move all over to avoid the flames. I feel like they took a minigame that was already really intense and just made it even more intense.
Yeah, they did. This one was a lot of fun to play, and it was a really good challenge. I feel like half the time, I got out really quickly because I was moving so fast. And the other half the time, I felt really accomplished if I stayed in as long as I could.
Yeah, same. I could never predict how well I would do. Like you, sometimes I'd be out right away, and sometimes I'd last quite a while. The one thing I will say about this one is that I feel like sometimes the perspective sort of made it difficult to jump over the Potoboo flames. There was times I was sure I was in the right spot to avoid getting hit, and I would still get out. That kind of sucked, but it wasn't so bad that it ruined this minigame.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely had that too, but I don't think it really ruined the game or anything. If anything, it made it just a little bit more challenging.
Exactly, and there's nothing wrong with that. So overall, we both loved this minigame. Hot Rope Jump was one of our favorites from Mario Party 2, and this takes this formula and just amps it up a notch. It's a simple concept, but it's a great challenge. It's one of those minigames that disappoints you when you get out, not because you lost the coins, but because you don't get to play it anymore. You might have a little bit of an issue here and there with the camera angle, but it's something you could get used to, and it doesn't really ruin this game in any way. We're giving this one 5 out of 5 stars.
Woohoo! Even though we just started playing Mario Party 3, I feel like this one's gonna be a good contender for our best Mario Party 3 minigame review video.
Oh yeah, same. I already want to play this one again.
Well, thanks for watching today. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Our next review is taking us all the way to France.
France?
Yeah, for the Awful Tower. Get it? Awful Tower, Eiffel Tower.
I'm gonna go ahead and rate that joke 1 star out of 5. Let's just hope the minigame's a little better than your joke.
Guess we'll find out. Hope to see you then.
Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. Today's minigame is the free-for-all Awful Tower, which tasks everyone to use the blocks in order to get to the top of their tower first. But don't go too fast because there's a few hammer bros ready to drop hammers on you if you're not too careful. Be the first to the top and you win.
So far in this game, we've started off really strong. We had 2 really fun minigames, and now we've got this one, which was pretty good, but maybe not as great as the other 2.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't hate this one, it just wasn't quite up to the level of the first 2 minigames. But that doesn't mean it wasn't fun.
I think getting to the tower had its own challenges and was fun to do, but then when Hammer Bros were added, I feel like it became a little too much.
Yeah, those hammer bros were annoying. They would throw down hammers at you and you'd have to time your jumps just right to avoid them. But it was really hard to do because your portion of the screen is pretty narrow. I would have preferred it if it was just a race to the top and you didn't have to worry about the hammer bros. I think that would have been plenty fun.
Me too. Every time I got close to one, it just took me too long to pass it, and it just made it a little less fun.
One thing I will say though is that even though this minigame isn't as good as the first 2, I feel like it does show off maybe a more refined nature to the minigames in Mario Party 3. It just seems like there's a little bit more quality of life touches added to it. There's barriers on the left and right of your screen so you can't fall off the far sides, which is nice and something that I don't feel like would have been done in Mario Party 1 or 2. If you think back to something like Destruction Duet in Mario Party 2, the game had no barrier stopping you from moving in front of your statue, which just made it really annoying because you just want to stay on the side of your statue and attack it.
I feel like our Mario Party 3 reviews are going to be more about how fun the games are to play and less about how annoying the controls are or other things that hinder the game.
Exactly. At least so far, it just seems like they took care of all the little annoyances and just left in really quality minigames. I hope this trend continues.
Yeah, me too. But we'll be here to find out either way.
So overall, Awful Tower is not an awful minigame. It's just not a great one. Racing to the top can be pretty fun, but having to get out of the way of the hammer bros really hinders it. There's not a whole lot of screen real estate that everyone gets, so it can be hard to avoid them. It doesn't ruin the minigame, but I feel like it would just be better off without them. If we were reviewing this minigame in Mario Party 2, I think it would be safe to say we would give it 4 stars, because compared to a lot of those minigames, this is better than those. But because we started off so strong in Mario Party 3, this one doesn't quite seem up to snuff. So for that reason, we're going to give it 3 stars out of 5. Our standards are just a little bit higher for Mario Party 3.
Well, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Well, our next review has me bonkers for Baby Bowser. It's Baby Bowser Bonkers. Come back to watch it with us. Hope to see you then. Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. Today we're playing the dual minigame Baby Bowser Bonkers, which is really Mario Party's attempt at whack-a-mole. This is actually pretty similar to the original Mario Party's Whack-a-Plant, although that was a single-player minigame. If you haven't seen it yet, we'll link it in the description below. The point of this one is to jump on as many Baby Bowsers as you can. Whichever opponent racks up the most points, jumping on the head of the baby wins.
This was pretty enjoyable. I liked this one.
I did too. It had a carnival concept, but it wasn't like that to play. There's a little bit more strategy in it than I expected.
Yeah, I agree. You can jump from Baby Bowser head to Baby Bowser head if you line it up just right. And actually, it's really rewarding when you do that. Jumping on 5 or 6 baby Bowsers in a row is really fun to do.
Yeah, you have to worry about timing a little bit more in order to do that, because otherwise you spend a lot of time trying to get to the next baby Bowser, and then you have to find another one, and before that, they fall down.
Another thing to watch out for when you do this is where the other player is. If you both wind up in the same area and jump on the same baby Bowser, your streak will be ruined because one of you will hit it before the other.
Oh yeah, that happened to us, and then on the other side, there's a bunch of baby Bowsers that didn't even get booped.
Yeah, you gotta spread out those boops. Overall, we like this one. It's a pretty simple concept, so there's not a ton to say about it, but that doesn't mean it's a bad minigame. Sometimes the best ones have the simplest concepts. If you've played Whack-A-Mole before, you know what you're getting into here. With a little skill and a little bit of strategy, you can win this one pretty easily, and it's rewarding when you do it. To get the most baby Bowsers, you have to make sure to line up your shots and jump on multiple in a row. And along with that, you have to make sure that you don't go for one that the other player already hit before you. But it's pretty fun to see how many you can get. So we're giving this one 4 stars out of 5.
Gosh, the good games keep on rolling. Thanks for watching today, and if you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. We're sticking with the Baby Bowser theme for the next minigame, called Baby Bowser Broadside.
Alright, can't wait to pummel that baby a little more.
Hope to see you then!
Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. Well, we have another Baby Bowser minigame for you today with the 2 vs 2 Baby Bowser Broadside. Every player controls a cannon and you have to shoot as many shots at the Baby Bowser target in the middle as possible. Whichever team racks up the most points before time is up wins. Man, shooting a target of a baby. Mario and his friends really are ruthless. What did you think of this one?
This one was fun. I thought it was kind of strange that it was a 2 vs 2 minigame because I kind of felt like it should have been a free-for-all. The 2 vs 2 didn't hold it back, but it also didn't really add anything.
That doesn't mean it wasn't fun though.
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of fun with it. It was really rewarding when you knew your cannonball was the one hitting the baby Bowser. A lot of times our minigames came down to the wire, so it was the last couple of hits that really mattered. And when you knew it was yours, you felt accomplished.
Yeah, it was always good to win it for your team. One thing I will say though is that sometimes it was hard to tell if you were actually hitting Baby Bowser or not. There's so many cannonballs heading towards Baby Bowser that it's hard to tell which ones are yours. So you can think you're hitting Baby Bowser and then realize you're actually shooting them off center a little bit. That's always a little annoying.
Yeah, I think it led to having to adjust a lot. Because the center is moving, you needed to make sure your cannon was always in the right spot, which sometimes took up a little bit more time than I would have liked.
So overall, this was an okay minigame. I don't think it's one of our top favorites, but it's definitely not bad. It's a good little carnival game where you just try and shoot as many cannonballs at Baby Bowser as you can. It's really rewarding to see your score rack up when you're just shooting tons of cannonballs at him, but sometimes it can be hard to tell which ones are yours, which puts you in a situation where you can realize you're actually not hitting Baby Bowser after all. That doesn't totally ruin this minigame though, so we're still gonna give it 3 stars out of 5.
Yeah, this one was a solid minigame. Thanks for watching today. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we'll be reviewing Bobbin Bow Looms.
Gotta love a minigame with a good pun name. Let's see how the gameplay stacks up.
Hope to see you then. Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. Today we're going bobbing, but it won't be for apples. Nope, instead we'll be bobbing for balloons. Actually, that's not really correct either. I have no idea why they put bobbing in the name. I guess because the balloons are going up and down. Bobbin Bow Looms is an item minigame. Each balloon has a different item in it. Your job is to hit A to shoot an arrow and hit the item you want. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, well, like all the item minigames in Mario Party 2, this one's pretty straightforward. There's not a whole lot to this one. You just shoot your arrow and see if you get an item.
Yeah, that's true. But one good thing about that is it's pretty difficult to not get an item. I mean, it can get difficult if you're trying to get a particular item, but if you just want an item, you'll get one.
Yeah, the further away from you the item is, the harder it is to get. If you want the item that's in the balloon that's furthest away from you, it can be pretty difficult. It's hard to keep your eye on all the balloons and find that one opening where your bow will get through to that last balloon.
Yeah, I mean, I think trying to go for the last balloon is probably when we ended up not being able to get an item.
That's not to say that there's a lot of times you don't get an item though. That seemed to rarely happen. Most of the time you would just end up hitting a balloon before the one you wanted.
Yeah, I mean, that's true, but at least you get an item, I guess.
That's about the best thing you can say about this minigame. Overall, it's just more of the same as far as item minigames go. There's not a ton of strategy to it, which can be a good thing because you're all but guaranteed to leave with some item, even if it's not the one you want. But if you go in needing a certain item and it happens to be in one of the balloons that's furthest away from you, it might be a little tough to leave with that one. So for these reasons, we're giving this one 2 stars out of 5.
Well, that's all we've got for today. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we'll be reviewing Boulder Ball. Aren't all boulders balls?
They are all pretty spherical in nature.
Well, hopefully we have a ball playing this one.
We'll find out.
Hope to see you then.
Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. Today's review is for the 1 vs 3 Boulder Ball. One player sits atop a hill and rolls boulders down at the other 3 players to stop them from reaching the top. Imagine your Mother Nature trying to screw over a bunch of hikers. That's pretty much what Boulder Ball is. If even one player reaches the top before time runs out, the single player loses.
So this game was fun when you were on the team, but as a single player, it wasn't that great.
Yeah, these 1 vs 3 minigames that are kind of skewed where one side is fun and the other side isn't, can be pretty hard to review sometimes.
Yeah, I feel like when this game pops up when you're playing, you just hope you're on the team side and not the single player. There's always one side you tend to prefer when you're playing 1 vs 3 minigame.
The other thing that's difficult about this one is that it's really hard to win if you're the single player. I think pretty much every time we played, the players on the team won. It's just hard to stop every single player from reaching the top.
It really is. The only strategy I found that worked when I played as a single player was to bounce the boulders off the walls so they kind of ricocheted around to hit as many players as possible.
Yeah, that definitely did seem to help, although I don't think it ever changed the outcome. I feel like to make this game a little more even for everyone, they'd have to make some changes, like maybe allowing you to have a little bit of control over the boulders after you let them go so you could weave them into the players. Or maybe they could just let you throw out more boulders. There's quite a period of downtime before you can let another boulder go, so by the time another one's going down, everybody's kind of regained their bearings and made their way a little bit further up the hill.
Yeah, you have to be really strategic when you're playing as the one player to try and hit the person who's closest to you, but even if you do, the second player might be pretty close, and it's hard to hit both if they're on opposite sides of the track.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult. So overall, this is one of those games that is pretty fun for one side, but just not fun for the other. And it doesn't help that it's so skewed to one side winning. This game could work with further refining, but as it is now, it just doesn't. It's too hard to win as a single player, and it's not fun to play as a single player either. We're gonna give this one 3 stars out of 5.
Well, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we'll be reviewing Bounce and Trounce.
Oh, this sounds like fun. I love bouncing and trouncing.
I know, they're 2 of your favorite things.
We'll see if I like the minigame as well.
Hope to see you then. Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. Today we're playing the free-for-all Bounce and Trounce. This is sort of like bumper balls all amped up. Everyone bounces on a ball trying to knock the other players off. You're able to do a spin move while jumping to push other players back, but be careful because the ground is falling around you. Be the last one standing to win.
So Bumper Balls has always been one of my favorite mini games, and I feel like in many ways, this is just their way of kind of refreshing that game by adding some new elements to it, but I think it's just a little too much. Having to worry about jumping around and doing the spin move to knock other players back and having the ground fall out around you gets to be a lot.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it feels like a bit much when the floor is falling around you, but I don't really know if you would be able to knock everyone off if it wasn't.
It would definitely make it more difficult. And speaking of difficult, that spin move was really hard for us to figure out. At first we thought it wasn't working because we just couldn't do it at all. But then we found out that to do it, you have to jump as soon as you hit the ground and do kind of a super high bounce, and then it'll let you do the spin move. It doesn't really make that clear, and honestly, with so much going on, it's really hard to make it work.
Yeah, I think I would have preferred if they just put bumper balls in this one again.
Me too. Even if they added some sort of attack button to bumper balls to kind of freshen it up, I think I would have preferred it to this one. But another thing they could have done is just allowed you to do the spin move at any time. I'm not sure why you have to do a super bounce to make it work.
Yeah, I think if you could do that, then the floor doesn't need to fall out underneath you. I think this game could have been better.
Yeah, overall, that's just kind of the takeaway from this one. Flawed execution. There's too much going on, and while some of the ideas could be good, they're not as is. Revamping the way that the spin move works would have gone a long way, and it would have helped you have less to deal with while you're playing this one. It gets really hectic, but not really in a fun way. We're giving this one 3 stars out of 5.
Well, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we'll be reviewing Bowser Toss. You know, some minigames just roll off your tongue when you say them. This one definitely doesn't.
Yeah, it's a bit of a tosser.
Well, let's see if it's more fun to play. Hope to see you then.
Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. We have Mario Party 3's first dual minigame to play today with Bowser Toss. Just like when fighting Bowser in Super Mario 64, this minigame has you spin him around by his tail and throw him as far as you can. The more you mash A, the further he flies. You can also adjust the angle of your throw. Whoever tosses Bowser the farthest wins.
Ah, this was a button mashing minigame.
Yeah, I was really hoping that we'd be done with these after Mario Party 2, but it looks like they're still back.
I mean, on the upside, at least it took us 9 minigames to get to a button masher, so that kind of gives me hope for the rest of the series.
I guess that's all we can do is hope that there's less of them in this one.
I don't know why they brought them back. Button mashers are not fun.
They tried to tweak the formula a little bit by allowing you to adjust the angle of your throw while mashing the button, but even that comes off a little bit weird. To change the angle, you have to move the control stick up or down, but you have to hold it there until time runs out, so it's really difficult to mash the button and figure out the perfect angle that you want and hold it there until time's done. I feel like they could have improved it by waiting to have you choose the angle until the timer ran out.
Yeah, it felt a little bit awkward having to do that. I mean, I guess they tried at least to make it better than a regular button masher, but I don't really think it improved it.
No, at the end of the day, this is pretty much the same as the rest of them. Overall, you know what you're getting here. This isn't the worst button masher we've played, but it doesn't rise above any of the rest of them. It's really just the same game in a different package. Sure, it introduces some strategy by having you adjust the angle of your throw, but that doesn't go a far way to make this minigame any more fun than the rest of them. We're giving this one 2 stars out of 5.
Well, that's all we've got for today, so thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we'll be reviewing Cheep Cheep Chase. Now that's a fun minigame to say.
Let's see if it's just as fun to play.
Hope to see you then. Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. Well, we're 2 for 2 with button mashing minigames right now. Hot off the heels of the previous review of Bowser Toss is Cheep Cheep Chase, a free-for-all minigame. This one is very reminiscent of Skateboard Scamper from the previous Mario Party games. If you haven't watched it, we'll link it in the description below. You'll mash A to swim away from the Cheep Cheep as fast as you can and avoid the mines in the water. Whoever reaches land first wins. You know, if Mario and his friends were smart, they would just swim to the side and get out of the water that way instead of going the long way. But whatever.
You know, when I looked at the list of minigames in Mario Party 3 originally, I felt good because at least I didn't see Skateboard Scamper on the list for the third time. But wouldn't you know it, they pulled a sneaky on us and pretty much gave us the same game, with a different name. This is exactly the same as that one, and it has all the same flaws as it as well.
It really does. I mean, first off, it's another button mashing minigame, so that's a major flaw. And second, there's that asymmetrical angle that makes it really hard to tell where the mines are.
Yeah, there's so many times when I thought a mine wasn't coming up so quick, and then I would hit it. Sometimes they look like they're in another lane. It's really weird. But I think the biggest problem to me is that even if you make it all the way to the end of this minigame, you'll still lose if you're not in first. This is the same issue we had with Skateboard Scamper in Mario Party 1 and 2. There's no reason they couldn't reward everyone who survived until the end with the win.
Yeah, I don't really understand why they didn't do that. I mean, it's not really fair if you're making it close to the end.
Unfortunately, nothing about this minigame is really good. Overall, it suffers from the same problems as every other button masher. You're just doing the same repetitive action in a different package. It doesn't matter what setting you're in when you play these minigames, they're all exactly the same. This one suffers from the same issues as Skateboard Scamper did in the past, where there's only one winner, so even if you make it to the end, chances are you're still going to lose. It was also tough knowing where the mines were in the water, which only helps speed up the process of having you lose. But maybe that's for the best. At least you wouldn't have to play it anymore. We're giving this one 2 stars out of 5.
Gosh, compared to last week, this week was a little bit of a letdown. We had so many great minigames, but not so much this week. Well, thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we'll be reviewing Chip Shot Challenge. I have no idea what this minigame could be about.
Well, I guess it's a cliffhanger then. If you want to find out what it's about, you gotta come back and watch. Hope to see you then. Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. Today's minigame is the free-for-all Chip Shot Challenge, and no, it's not about potato chips.
I wish.
Chip Shot Challenge challenges every challenger to hit a golf ball as close to the hole as possible. Whoever gets nearest to the hole wins.
This minigame had some extreme flaws. First of all, the location for the hole is the same for every player. So the player that goes first is at an extreme disadvantage because the other players get to watch the first player and then work off of it. So if you're the first player, you have the hardest time. Everyone else can see what you did and then adjust accordingly.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened to me. I was player 1 and it always made me go first. I think it would have been a lot more fair to just randomize the location of the hole for every player. It already changes the location every time you play this minigame, so I'm not sure why they couldn't just do it for everyone. That way you couldn't just see what the first player did and then correct your shot from there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, on the other side of that is I learned from what you did and I was able to do better most of the time. Although, that's not very fair. Another flaw in this minigame is there's not a real indication of how far you're going to hit it. Yeah, there's some sort of meter bar kind of giving you direction on where you're going, but it doesn't really show how far it'll go.
Yeah, that was another issue that I had, especially as a first player. It does change color the further the ball is going to go, but you don't really have any way to know where you're starting from. You're not sure if you're going to go 3 feet at first or 10 feet, you know, so you don't know how close you're going to be to the hole when you shoot.
Yeah, I think it needed that. This minigame wasn't horrible to play, but there were just some flaws in it that made it not as fun as it could be.
Yeah, that's really the biggest issue with this one. If they had fixed the flaws and randomized the whole location for every player and given you some indication of how far you were going to hit the ball, that would be one thing. But even then, it would only make this a 3-star minigame. Hitting a golf ball one time and trying to get close to the hole is fun, but it's not really that exciting. But add into that the flaws such as the first player being at an extreme disadvantage and not knowing how far your ball is going to go, this one gets bumped down to 2 stars.
I think I would have liked it more if it was about potato chips. Well, that's all we've got for today. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we'll be reviewing Coconut Conk. Sounds like Mario's taking a trip to Hawaii. Hope to see you then. Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. Today we're reviewing the 1 vs 3 Coconut Conk, in which the team of 3 try to conk the coconut of the lone player below. If they succeed, the team wins. But if the player on the ground barrels their way to victory, the reward is all theirs.
This was a pretty fun one. I enjoyed this a lot.
Me too, I was kind of surprised. I feel like coming off of Chip Shot Challenge, we were gonna have another dud, but this one was actually more fun than I thought it would be.
Yeah, that's not to say it's not without its flaws, but they don't hold it back that much.
Yeah, the first flaw was in being the one player. When you're in the barrel, it's a little bit hard to change direction. So if you see a coconut falling and you need to get out of the way, you might not. It takes a little bit of time to change direction to go a different way. But on the other side of that, if you were able to move really quickly, then it might be too hard for the 3 players to get the single player out.
Yeah, this doesn't break the game at all. It just adds a little bit of balance to it, I think. There's also a flaw for the players playing on the team, too. A lot of times, everyone starts to crowd around the same spot wherever the player in the barrel is, and it causes you to just jump on each other's heads, which can get a little annoying. Doing that can prevent the team from knocking more coconuts down below, so it's really good to spread out a little bit.
Oh yeah, we saw that happen a lot, although it was kind of funny.
Well, that's true, I guess it was. But again, these flaws don't hold us back. It's still a lot of fun. Being the player in the barrel and getting out of the way just in time to miss a coconut is really rewarding.
Yeah, this one definitely builds suspense.
Overall, this is a pretty good one. It's hectic fun to try and knock coconuts down to the player in the barrel, and if you're the player in the barrel, it's a lot of fun to try and maneuver out of the way. It does have a couple minor flaws. Changing the direction of the barrel takes a little bit of time, and it gets a little annoying when everyone on the team is jumping on each other's heads. But that really just helps the balance of the game and doesn't hold this one back too much. So we're giving this one 4 stars out of 5.
Yay! Well, that's all we've got for today. So if you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we'll be reviewing Cosmic Coaster. Space? Roller coasters? What more could you want?
Fun.
Well, let's hope so. Hope to see you then.
Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. Today's minigame is the 2 vs 2 Cosmic Coaster. It takes place on a coaster out in the cosmos, which I guess is where it gets its name. And each team's goal is to slide left and right, dodging the Bowser signs along their path. Whoever reaches the end of the line first wins.
Okay, so this one was a lot of fun. It was really intense, but not in a bad way at all.
No, when we first saw this one, I was afraid that this was another return of Handcar Havoc, but luckily for us, this is way better.
Gosh, I know, when we saw it pop up, I was like, no, not another button masher, but it wasn't.
No, and it's actually super fun. It's one of those really simple minigames where you're just moving left and right, but it's super fun.
I think the speed of this minigame is what builds the intensity and makes it so fun. Like, yeah, you're moving left and right, but you're going so fast trying to dodge out of the way that you end up not always getting the timing right. But that's part of the fun.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to time all of your movements and dodge all of the signs. You're inevitably going to hit some, but it just ups the feeling of tenseness that you have and makes it really exciting.
It really does, and because this is a 2 vs 2 minigame, even if you do all your timing right and you're able to dodge everything, you gotta rely on your partner to do the same. And we all know how that goes sometimes.
Yeah, I can definitely see some fights breaking out over this one. So overall, there's not a whole lot of bad stuff to say about this one. It's a simple concept, but it's really exciting. It can be pretty hard to time all of your movements and dodge all of the signs, but that doesn't hold this one back at all. It's a simple race to the finish, but it's super tense in the best way. We're giving this one 5 out of 5 stars.
Woohoo! I feel like it's been a while since we've had a 5-star minigame. I'm glad to see it happen again. There's hope for Mario Party 3 out there. Well, that's all we've got for today, so if you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we'll be reviewing Crazy Cogs.
You know, some people call us a couple of crazy cogs.
Is it because we're playing Mario Party 3?
I think it's for a whole bunch of reasons. But let's see if this minigame is as great as we are.
Hope to see you then. Hello and
Hi.
well, hello to you too. Welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. Today's minigame is Crazy Cogs, a 1 vs 3 minigame. You know, sometimes I refer to my family as a bunch of crazy cogs, but that isn't what today's minigame is about. Instead, 3 players run around a cog trying to avoid the falling bullet bills. The single player is in charge of changing the direction the cog spins in, and their goal is to make sure all 3 players get hit. If they do, the single player wins. But if even one player survives, the entire team wins.
This was a pretty fun minigame, especially if you were on the team. I don't think it was as fun for the single player since you're really just moving the direction of the cogs, but that could still be rewarding in its own way. For the team of 3, you're basically just trying to dodge out of the way, and that's always pretty exciting.
Yeah, I agree. I like this one a lot. Although, when I played as a single player, it was a little less fun. It was pretty easy when you played on the team of 3 to dodge out of the way of the bullet bills. However, towards the end, the amount of bullet bills speeds up, so it becomes a little bit more tricky to get out of the way. I think one thing that could have made playing as player 1 more fun is if you got to control the bullet bills. So maybe you got to press A to launch the bullet bills or something and then control how they go. I don't know, I just feel like it needed a little bit more than just spinning the cog.
The one thing that made it more exciting for me playing as a single player was just trying to strategize a little bit and line up the players underneath the bullet bills. The bullet bills have a shadow, so if you see one coming, you might change the direction of the cog to line a player up right below one. That made it a little bit more fun to play.
Oh yeah, that was a really good strategy. I didn't think about that when I played at first.
Overall, this one's pretty fun. If you're on the team of 3, you're just dodging out of the way of bullet bills. It's a lot like Bombs Away from Mario Party 1 and 2, except in this one, you never know which way the platform beneath you is going to move. If you're the single player, it's not quite as fun to play. You can still strategize and try and line up players underneath the shadows of the bullet bills, which does make it more fun, I think, but it still doesn't reach the same level as being on the team. However, overall, this one's still a lot of fun. We're giving it 4 stars.
Gosh, this is our 3rd good minigame in a row. I hope we keep it up. That's all we have for today, so if you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we'll be reviewing Crowd Cover. Is that like a giant blanket?
I hope so.
Guess we'll find out.
Hope to see you then.
I'm the best.
Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. Today we're playing the dual minigame Crowd Cover. A whole crowd of evil bad guys are causing more mayhem today by rudely covering up the picture below them. 3 possible pictures are shown to the dueling contestants, and their goal is to figure out which of them the large picture matches. Whoever does this first wins the duel.
This was a fine minigame. It was fun to play, but really wasn't anything too special.
No. Luckily there's no huge flaws in this one that just makes it unfun to play, but it's also just not that exciting.
I think the hardest part about this one was figuring out the difference between the 3 photos. But once you figured out the difference, you were able to spot it on the main photo pretty quickly.
Yeah, for sure. For instance, if the Boo was holding up one arm and only one of the 3 pictures had one arm up, you pretty much right away know it's that one.
I think the fun in this one is just trying to guess before the other player. Sometimes I wouldn't even wait till I knew what image it was. I would just rule out one of the 3 and do a 50-50 chance guess, just to get it done faster. Although that didn't always work in my favor, it was a strategy.
Yeah, I almost wish they made this one a little harder. If you had to work more for it, I think it would be more fun, and it would also make it more tense. The longer the game went on, the more you would worry that the other player would get it before you. Overall, this one's alright. It's nothing special, but you're not gonna hate playing this one. It's fun winning the duel because you know you're gonna get a bunch of coins, but there's not much else to it besides that. It usually only takes maybe 5 or 10 seconds to figure out the difference between the pictures, and once you do, the game's over. You would think it would be really tense, but I don't think it ever stays around long enough for you to feel tense.
Yeah, it kind of ends before you even know it begins.
Pretty much. So unfortunately, we're giving this one 3 stars out of 5.
Well, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed our video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we'll be reviewing Curtain Call.
Why would you want to call a curtain?
Maybe they have something exciting to say.
Oh, I hope so. We'll find out next time.
Hope to see you then. Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. Today we're talking about the free-for-all minigame, Curtain Call. This game is all about memory. A series of Goombas, Koopas, and Boos will walk across the stage and your job is to remember their order. Once they leave, the game will ask you a question about their position. If you miss, you're out. But if you answer 3 questions correctly, you'll win the game.
This one was okay. I didn't mind it, but it was definitely not my favorite.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like the main thing on this game that made me not like it very much is how confusing the wording was on the questions.
Yeah, it really was. Like, I remember one time it asked which one was the first one from the left, which is just kind of a weird way to say it. Why wouldn't you just say which one is on the left?
I know, that's really funny because that's the one that got me when I was thinking first one from the left. Okay, so besides the one on the left, the second one in, where I just misunderstood because they were asking for the left one. But maybe if they had all of the spots numbered or something so they can say, who is in spot number 5? I don't know. The way they phrase these questions, they were asking you what character was in on the left or the right and then what number, and it was too confusing.
Yeah, it was. That really held this game back, and it was already not great to begin with. I will say that it was a little bit of fun, though. There is a sense of accomplishment when you remember exactly the order of all of the different enemies that came across the screen.
Yeah, I tend to like memory games, so this one was kind of fun for me. But I think the first round was too easy. It's like you know you're gonna get that one, and then the second one was kind of easy too, so the only way you're gonna get out is either if you miss the third one, or just by being confused from the way they word the questions.
Exactly. Overall, this minigame's okay, but it's definitely held back by some flaws. The wording around some of the questions can be kinda confusing at times, and it's also a little too easy during the first round. It does get more exciting, and if you survive through 3 rounds, it does feel good, but it never elevates itself above just being a regular average minigame. We're giving this one 3 stars out of 5.
Well, that's all we've got for you today. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. It really means a lot to us when you do that. Next up, we'll be reviewing Dory Dip.
Ooh, I love dip.
Makes me feel like this one's about Doritos or something.
This minigame would go well with Chip Shot Challenge, I think.
I think we need a snack is what I think.
Me too, but come back for our next video.
Hope to see you then.
I'm the best.
Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. Today we're playing another item minigame of Mario Party 3, Dory Dip. Remember finding Dory deep in the caverns below Hazy Mazy Cave in Mario Party 64? Well, Dory's back today to help you walk away with a brand new item. The items circle around you and Dory, and you have to ground pound to make Dory reach out and grab one. Be careful though, because it takes a bit of time to grab something, so timing is everything. And just be sure not to grab Baby Bowser or you'll leave with nothing.
Well, this is another item minigame. One good thing I can say about this one though is that you're guaranteed to get an item, unlike Bobbin Bow Looms. However, you just gotta watch out for Baby Bowser. You don't wanna get him.
Yeah, it is nice to play one where you're almost guaranteed an item. One thing I will say though is that it's pretty hard to get the item you want. You have to time it just right, and it's difficult to figure out that timing. It takes time to jump and ground pound and have Dory reach out their neck, so I definitely struggled a lot with getting the item I wanted.
Me too. I think we figured out the best strategy was to ground pound when the item you wanted was kind of at Dory's tail.
Yeah, that seemed to work pretty well. Even that was a little inaccurate though, I feel.
Yeah, it was, but that was the best guess we could come up with for a strategy though.
So overall, you pretty much know what you're getting with this one. It's an item minigame and they're all generally of the same quality. As far as item minigames go, this one's okay because at least you're guaranteed an item as long as you don't land on Baby Bowser. But having said that, it's a lot harder to get the item you want compared to other item minigames. And overall, just like most of these, it's just not that fun to play. We're giving this one 2 stars out of 5.
Well, that's it for today. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we'll be reviewing Eats the Pizza.
It's my favorite food.
I think it's Mario's too.
But will it be my favorite minigame? Let's find out.
Hope to see you then. Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. Everybody knows that pizza is the best food in the world. That's why I'm so excited for today's minigame, the 2 versus 2 Eats a Pizza. Can you even play this minigame if you don't say it like that?
I don't think so.
The goal of the minigame is to chomp down more pizza than the other team before time runs out. And to do this, you have to, mash the A button. Well, I have to say that my hopes for this one have definitely been dashed a bit. But maybe it's still a little tasty.
I'll be honest, button mashers are never great, but this one's actually kind of fun. I would definitely rank this above most other button mashers we've played.
Oh, me too. I feel like I've never had anything positive to say about a button mashing minigame, but I actually liked this one.
Yeah, it didn't overstay its welcome, and it kind of had a good concept to it. It felt like you're actually doing something instead of just mashing the button and seeing some random stuff happen on the screen.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like most of the button mashing minigames, there's never a really good indication to tell if you're doing well or how you're doing compared to the other team members. But this one had a nice visual of the pizza that you were eating to see if you were doing well or not. All that being said, it's still a button masher though.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, this isn't a great minigame. I'm just saying that compared to other button mashers, it's not too bad. At least you're doing something else besides button mashing. There's a little bit of strategy into deciding where to go and staying out of the way of your teammate so that you both eat the maximum amount of pizza. It also takes more time to eat through the toppings than the rest of the pizza, so that might be another strategy that you take to maybe eat around the toppings and then go back for them, or just go through the whole thing.
I think that was a really nice added detail. It kind of made it so that maybe one person should be eating the middle part of the pizza where there's a lot of toppings, and then the other teammate would maybe go around the edge to get the crust because that could be faster. I don't know. There's strategy there though, which is more than I can say for most button mashing minigames.
Yeah, overall, this game's okay. Sure, it's not one of our favorite minigames, but it's not as bad as most other button mashers. There is some strategy involved, and you do have to work with your teammate, so that's fun, and it does make you feel like you're actually doing something compared to most other button mashing minigames. It was fun being neck and neck with the other team, and it made it a little bit more tense. So we're giving this one 3 stars out of 5.
Yeah, this one was fine. You know, pizza's a 5-star food, so I thought this one would have been higher. Oh well.
Maybe next time.
That's all we have for you today. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we'll be reviewing End of the Line.
End of the line. Oh no, I don't want to die.
Well, hopefully you have an extra life.
Let's find out.
Hope to see you then.
Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. Today's minigame is End of the Line. This duel minigame finds you and your opponent in charge of conducting your train to safety. You'll have 3 choices to make as to whether you want to go left or right. If you choose a wrong direction, you'll be sent back to the beginning of the track, and whoever makes it to the end first wins.
As far as duel minigames go, this one was pretty fun.
Yeah, I definitely like this better than a lot of other duel minigames. It's not amazing, but it's definitely enjoyable to play it.
The only thing that I thought was kind of frustrating about this minigame was that when you and your opponent chose different tracks, you got to see who was right and who wasn't. So if you messed up and your opponent didn't, then you can just correct yourself on the next turn, and maybe they'll make a mistake on Route 2, and then you'll be the one that knows the right way to go, so you'll be the winner. It's a little too easy just to copy the other person.
Exactly. If you're the first one to make a mistake, there's a pretty good chance you could end up winning this one just by copying what your opponent does right.
Or
Left. Yeah, this one would definitely be better if you each had your own track.
yeah, because I almost felt like I was cheating when I was watching you and then I got to correct and do it better.
Exactly. If you each had to figure out your own way of going left and right, this would be a lot more fair, I think. That's definitely a big flaw that holds this one back.
Yeah, and the thing about this flaw is that it doesn't necessarily always benefit one player over the other. It's just kind of luck for both players.
Exactly. So overall, this is a good duel minigame. It's just not a great minigame. We definitely had fun with it, but it does have a pretty big flaw in letting you see what your opponent does right or wrong. That doesn't completely negate the fun you'll have with this one though, and it's still really rewarding to win. It's also really funny when you see your opponent lose and fly off a cliff. So for these reasons, we're giving this one 3 stars out of 5.
Well, that's all we have for today. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we'll be reviewing Etching Catch.
Bless you.
No, that's the name of the minigame. You'll have to come back to watch it. Hope to see you then. Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. We're playing the 2 vs 2 Etching Catch today. In this one, you're chasing down toad head stamps that somehow have come to life, and the only way to stop them is to draw a full circle around them. To do this, you have to work with your teammate to make sure you get a circle drawn all the way around them before they move. Whichever team circles the most toads wins the minigame.
I had a lot of fun with this one. It was definitely challenging, but in a good way, I think.
Oh, me too. This one was so much fun. When reading the rules and seeing that all you had to do was draw a circle around the toad head stamp, I wasn't quite sure if this would be any fun. It sounded too easy and almost kind of boring, but that was definitely not the case.
No, not at all. It takes a lot of teamwork to draw a full circle before the stamp moves. And adding on to that, your ink trail behind you is pretty limited, so it'll start going away if you draw too much.
Yeah, that ended up being kind of frustrating, but in a fun way. You definitely need to have teamwork for this one, but also there's a lot of strategy too. You gotta make sure you and your partner aren't going the same way, or maybe that you are going the same way. We couldn't quite figure out the best way to do the circle.
No, there's definitely advantages to both ways.
That is, unless you're a computer, because we had some struggles.
Oh yeah, the computer players sucked at this one.
They like to just stand there, or stand on the toad head stamp.
Yeah, that was so frustrating. It was also frustrating when you would almost circle the stamp and then it would move out of the circle just at the last moment.
Oh, I know. This one led to some tense moments.
Yeah, but it was all in good fun, I think. I never felt like it was being unfair.
Me neither.
So overall, we both like this one a lot. It's one of those classic Mario Party minigames that's really simple, but really fun to play. There's a lot of strategy between you and your teammate, and you really have to work together to win this one. It leads to a lot of frustrating moments when you almost have a toad stamp circled, and then it moves at the last second. But it just makes things more tense. There were so many games where we were just a point or two away from the other team, so every last circle counted. Because of how much fun we had with this one, we're giving it 5 out of 5 stars.
Woohoo! I love to see another 5-star minigame.
Me too.
Well, that's all we have for today. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we'll be reviewing eyesore.
I a little sore too.
Must be from catching all those toads.
Maybe. Well, come back to play it with us.
Hope to see you then.
Fish. I'm the best. Stop.
Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. Today's review is for the battle minigame eyesore. We're about to make your eyes sore with this one because it's all about spinning in circles. The goal is to be the first one to make 15 circles around Big Mr. Eye. It's a pretty simple concept. The only added pain is in the potaboos that randomly fall down around you. Watch out for those, make 15 laps first, and you'll win the game.
This game was actually really fun. I think the fact that it had to be 15 laps around Mr. I gave it a really nice competitive edge.
Yeah, it did. It actually reminded me of All Fired Up as well, where you're kind of dodging out of the way of the Podoboos. But like you said, the fact that you also have another objective to do makes this one feel a little bit different from that one.
Yeah, it really does. Speaking of Podoboos, it was slightly annoying because they could fall on your head, so you wouldn't have any time to dodge them. I think the fact that the Podoboos were there made it more difficult to try and get 15 laps first, so I would definitely keep that, but it was just a little challenging to make sure you didn't get hit by them.
Yeah, you could see a glow on the floor right before they hit, but you had barely any warning, and when you're just trying to run around as fast as you can, it definitely gets hard to dodge them.
Oh yeah, I don't even think I realized that. I was so focused just going as fast as I could.
But that's really the only complaint I have about this one. Other than that, it was really fun and competitive.
Yeah, this minigame was really fun.
Overall, this is a pretty great one. It's kind of like All Fired Up where you're trying to dodge out of the way of something, but there's an added competitive element trying to reach 15 laps first. It makes it a lot of fun, especially for a battle minigame where some of your coins are on the line. The only real flaw with this one is that it can be pretty hard to dodge out of the way of the Podoboos that fall down. You don't really get much warning, but it doesn't drag this one down a whole lot. We're still giving it 4 out of 5 stars.
Well, that's all we have for today. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. It really means a lot to us when we see those numbers go up. Next up, we'll be reviewing Foul Play.
Well, that name pretty much sums up the whole Mario Party experience, I'd say.
Hey, it's not always a foul experience.
Only sometimes. Let's see if this one's better or not.
Hope to see you then.
I'm the best. Stop.
Hello, and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. Today's minigame might smell a little foul because we're playing the dual minigame Foul Play. You and your opponent run around a farm trying to catch a chicken. Bet you didn't see that one coming. Whoever does it first wins. Just be careful not to hit anyone or I'll have to call a foul.
So this is another example of the Mario Party creators just taking a little thing that you would do in Super Mario 64 and making a minigame out of it. It reminds me a lot of chasing the bunnies in the basement of Peach's castle, and that's pretty much all this minigame is. I didn't mind it though. It's kind of entertaining.
Yeah, I do feel like this minigame series has taken a lot from Mario 64. This minigame was fun, but personally, I found it really difficult to try and grab the chicken.
Well, they can't make it too easy. Where's the fun in that?
Yeah, that's true, and it might have to do with the fact that my opponent might have been a lot better at it than me.
But what else is new?
Hey!
Actually, it would have been pretty fun if you had some sort of offensive move to hit your opponent. If you were able to punch each other and knock them out of the way, it could be fun.
Yeah, I think that would have been a nice added touch. However, it was kind of weird to see Mario on a farm.
Maybe it's the same farm from Mario Kart's Moo Moo Farm.
Oh yeah, I love that level.
So overall, this minigame's alright. It's not winning any awards, but we didn't hate it. It's another example of them taking an element from Super Mario 64 and putting it in a minigame package. That doesn't mean it's bad, it just doesn't do anything that special. It is fun to run around and try and catch the chicken, but it also might have been nice if you had some sort of offensive move to hit your opponent with, just to liven things up a little. We're giving this one 3 stars out of 5.
Well, that's it for today. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we'll be reviewing Frigid Bridges. Guess we'll need our jackets for this one. Hope to see you then.
I'm the best.
Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. Well, someone must have left the fridges open because a cold air blew in and made the bridges frigid in this free-for-all minigame called Frigid Bridges. It's another simple one. Your goal is to be the first to carry 3 blocks of ice to the other end of the icy path so you can make it safely back to land. Whoever does this first will win.
Gosh, this minigame was a lot of fun, but man, was I bad at it. I think this is an example of a minigame where you really have to be good at platforming to make this one fun.
Yeah, for sure. If you're not very good at playing games like Mario, this is probably not the minigame you're going to excel at. However, I personally thought it was a lot of fun. I always enjoy stuff like this, so this one was right up my alley. It actually reminded me of playing the unlockable bumper ball mazes from Mario Party 1.
Oh yeah, I could see that. If you haven't seen that video, we'll link it below so you can watch it. Yeah, this one was a little tricky for me to play, but it was fun. I think making sure you didn't fall off the edges and the fact that it was slippery made it a little challenging. But it's really not like many other mini games we play. It was a nice change of pace, and I do prefer it over a button masher, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, easily. But you're right, there's not very many like this where you have to do something so skill-based.
It was a nice change for the series.
Definitely. So overall, this one was pretty fun. Your skills definitely need to be up to snuff to win this one, but if you enjoy platforming and accuracy, this is the one for you. There's not a ton of other minigames like this, so it's a breath of fresh air when it comes up. We're giving it 4 out of 5 stars.
Yay! Well, that's all we have for today. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we'll be reviewing Game Guy's Lucky 7.
Well, if it's lucky, it's gotta be fun, right?
Guess we'll find out. Hope to see you then. Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. Today we're kicking off the first in a series of 4 reviews for the special Game Guy minigames. These are special minigames that you'll only play if you land on the Game Guy space. If you win, you'll have the chance to double your coins. But on the flip side, if you lose, you'll lose all of your coins. So it's high risk but high reward. Perfect for a game of Mario Party. First up is Lucky 7. Your objective is to get higher up on the 7 steps than Game Guy without falling off. You'll each have 2 rolls to do this. End on a higher step than Game Guy and your coins are doubled. End on a lower step or fall off and you lose everything. If you end up on the 7th step, your coins are multiplied by 10. Holy wiggler!
I like the idea of minigames where there's a huge risk and huge reward to them like this. It really makes things tense. But when you're actually playing this one, it's not that great. If you didn't have so many coins on the line, this would be pretty forgettable.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's not the minigame that feels tense. It's just the fact that your coins are on the line that feels tense. It really wasn't that much fun to play.
No. The first half of the minigame doesn't even really take any thought. You're each gonna roll once no matter what, so you don't even have to pay attention. It's only after that that you have to decide whether it's worth rolling again or not. But that doesn't take a whole lot of thought.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much just luck with the dice rolls. The second part, like you said, you can think a little bit, but it's not even that much strategy.
No, not really. The only really good thing to say about this is that it could be a pretty good way to get a lot of coins if you do well. But on the flip side, it could send you back to 4th place if you don't.
Yeah, this one reminds me of item minigames just as far as how much fun it is to play. But like you said, it does have that Mario Party spirit of being able to change the entire game.
That it does. So overall, this isn't that great of a minigame. The only saving grace to it is the fact that it can really change a game of Mario Party for you, in a good or bad way, honestly. If those big stakes weren't involved, there wouldn't be much to say about this one. There's not a whole lot of thought that goes into it, and it's mostly luck. Just like the item minigames, it comes and goes, and it has its place, but it's not that special to play. We're giving it 2 stars out of 5.
Well, that's all we have for today. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Most of our watchers aren't subscribed, so let's make that a change.
Yeah, come on guys, pick it up.
Next up, we'll be reviewing another Game Guy minigame. This one's Magic Boxes.
Yes, I love magic.
This one sounds fun.
Well, I guess we'll find out.
Hope to see you then.
Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. We're back for yet another Game Guy minigame review with magic boxes. Like our last Game Guy minigame review, These games give you a chance to double your coins if you win, or lose all your coins if you lose. In Magic Boxes, you have the choice between 2 chests, one containing Toad and one containing Baby Bowser. If you choose Toad, your coins are doubled, and if you choose Baby Bowser, you lose them all. But to make things even more intense, you can choose to keep going for up to 3 rounds if you win, doubling your coins again each time. Win all 3 rounds and your coins will be multiplied by 8. Holy blooper, that's a lot of coins. But it's a lot of risk too, so play wisely.
So like we said with Lucky 7, it's just luck. However, with Lucky 7, there was a tiny bit of strategy, but with this one, there's no strategy. It's 100% luck.
Yeah, it really is. You're just choosing a chest and saying what's in it. That can sometimes be fun. For instance, Bowser's Big Blast from Mario Party 2 was a great minigame.
Oh yeah, I loved that one.
The problem with this one is that there's so much on the line. Even if you get the first one right, it takes a lot to keep going because you don't want to lose all your coins. You just kind of want to get out while you're ahead.
Yeah, I mean, the odds are 50-50 each time, so you do have a pretty good chance of picking the right one. But it is just luck. There's no way to predict it.
That's true. I mean, I guess if you're really behind in Mario Party, this is a good way to get ahead. You might as well risk it. But it would just be tough to be in that scenario and want to go 3 times when the stakes are so high.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I got all 3 right, but I don't know. If all my coins are on the line, that might be too much of a risk.
Yeah, I think I only got through all 3 rounds 1 time. So overall, this isn't the best minigame. There's so much on the line that it's hard to want to go much more than 1 round with this one. Sure, there's a huge reward if you do, but the chances of success are so low that you don't want to completely screw yourself in your game of Mario Party. The fact that it's all luck and the fact that there's so much at risk kind of holds this one back, but it is pretty tense to play, so that's kind of fun. We're giving this one 2 stars out of 5.
Yeah, it is pretty intense. Let us know in the comments below. Would you guys try and make it to the 3rd round? Or would you stop after 1?
I feel like this really says a lot about how you live your life.
Or at least how you play Mario Party. Well, that's all we have for you today. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we'll be reviewing Game Guys Roulette.
Wow, I can't imagine there's going to be a lot of luck involved in this one.
Yeah, I'll have to make sure I bring my lucky charm for this one. Hope to see you then. Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. Up today is the 3rd in a line of Game Guy minigame reviews. It's Game Guys Roulette. If you don't know, Game Guy minigames are special minigames only accessed if you land on their spot on the map. If you win, you can multiply your coins, but if you lose them all. Game Guys Roulette has you choose a spot on the roulette wheel to bet where your coins are. The bigger slices are more likely to be landed on, but they don't multiply your coins as much as the smaller slices do. So make your bets and try and win it big.
Or don't bet, because the thing about this game is that you're never going to win. I don't think we won a single time we were playing this.
No, we didn't.
Even the times when we'd place our money on the biggest part of the roulette wheel, it still wouldn't come up there. Sure, you have a bigger chance of it happening, but the chance is still less than 50-50, so it's really hard to guess where you should put them.
Yeah, this minigame just feels like a lose-lose minigame. There's no chance of winning, and it's not that fun to play.
No, it's really not. Like, it'd be nice to multiply your coins by a ton, but because it's so random, there's not really any reason to put your coins on anything but the biggest slice of the roulette wheel. At least you have the most chance of winning there.
Yeah, and it's not like they only have a few options. I think there was like 8 options on the roulette wheel, so your chances of winning are so small.
True. This one probably could have been improved if they just gave you even 3 or 4 options. At least that way you'd have a much greater chance of winning.
Yeah, I wish they did that instead.
It's too bad, because there's really no reason to play this. Not that you have a choice anyway. If you land on the spot, you just have to do it. But who knows, maybe you'll get lucky.
Yeah, if you guys have ever won this one, let us know in the comments below, because to us, it seems pretty impossible.
So overall, this one's not great, but I don't know if any of the Game Guy minigames have been so far. This one's really tough to win, to the point where we played it like 12 times and never won once. The only real strategy to this one is to place your coins on the biggest slice of the roulette wheel and hope that you win. But the chance of you doing that are still not that great, so good luck, you're going to need it. We're giving this one 2 stars out of 5.
Well, that's all we have for you today. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we'll be reviewing the last in the series of the Game Guy minigames. It's Game Guy's Sweet Surprise.
I don't know how I feel about that name.
I don't think it'll be very sweet, that's for sure.
We'll come back to find out.
Hope to see you then.
Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. We're back for the last of our Game Guy minigame reviews. These are special minigames only accessed by landing on their spaces on the map. They all give you the chance to multiply your coins dramatically if you win, but they also give you the chance to lose them if you lose. Good luck on these ones. They can really change a game of Mario Party. Game Guy's Sweet Surprise has you betting on which Chain Chomp will finish their cake first. I always wondered what their diet consisted of. The bigger Chain Chomp has a much greater chance of winning, but the tinier Chain Chomp will multiply your coins by a huge amount more if they win. So what do you think? Who's the quicker chomper? Place your bets.
So, this one was kind of strange. We never saw the tiny chomper win once. It was always the big Chain Chomp, which makes me feel like why would you ever even try to risk your coins? Like, if you know you're gonna win, just bet on the big Chain Chomp.
Yeah, seriously. For the amount of times we played this one, the chance of the big Chain Chomp winning had to have been like 95%.
Oh, I think it was 100. I don't think I ever saw the small one winning.
Yeah, we definitely never saw the small one winning, but I have to assume it would happen sometime. But regardless, the point still stands. If your chances are 95 to 100% that the big Chain Chomp is going to win, why would you ever bet against that and go with a small one? Your chances of winning with a small one are a lot bigger, but I'd rather leave with twice the amount of coins I came in with, rather than risk it on a 1% chance of winning.
Yeah, me too. I mean, it's supposed to be just chance, but it really seems like we know who the winner is going to be. So don't take risks, just bet on the big Chain Chomp.
It was especially weird because sometimes little messages would come up as if they were saying stuff, which was funny, like sometimes it would say that the big Chain Chomp doesn't like cake or that the little Chain Chomp hasn't eaten since breakfast. You would think that that was kind of a hint on which direction you should go, but it never really seemed to matter. Even when it said something about the tiny Chain Chomp being really hungry, it still didn't win, so there's not really much point to the messages besides being a funny little detail.
Yeah, they were entertaining, but not helpful. I mean, this one wasn't really fun to play either because all you have to do is select a Chain Chomp. Maybe if you were controlling the Chain Chomp and had some sort of way to speed up it eating the cake, it would have been more fun. But no, you just pick one.
Yeah, overall, like the rest of the Game Guy minigames, this one's not really that great. It's nice that there's a way to gain a bunch of coins, but the fact that the small Chain Chomp never wins means there's no reason to bet on that one. At least if you choose the big Chain Chomp, you're all but guaranteed to double the amount of coins you came in with, so that's something. Your chances of losing on this one are way smaller than on one like Game Guy's Roulette. But having said that, it's just not very fun. All you're doing is choosing a Chain Chomp and seeing the results. So we're giving this one 2 stars out of 5.
Well, that's all we have for you today, and it's the last in the Game Guy series. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we'll be reviewing Hand, Line, and Sinker.
Well, I hope that now that we're done with these Game Guy minigames, we can get back to another good minigame. But since it's Mario Party, you never know.
True. Fingers crossed the next one's a 5-star minigame, though.
We'll find out.
Hope to see you then. Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. Today we're talking about the 1 vs 3 minigame, Hand, Line, and Sinker. In this one, 3 players play as fish and try to escape from the single player, reeling them in with a hand on the end of a fishing line. If the single player reels them all in real fast before time is up, they win. Now let's find out if this is any good or if it should have been named Hand, Line, and Stinker.
Yeah, I'm gonna say right off the bat that Handline and Stinker would have been a better name for this one.
Yeah, this one stunk. It wasn't fun to play at all.
No, and it didn't matter which side you were on.
Yeah, some 1 versus 3 minigames are really fun if you're the 1 player, or really fun if you're on the 3-person team. But this one was bad either way.
Yeah, and it really just came down to the controls. If you were playing as a fish, it was so slow to do anything. There was a lag between every time you could hit the button to move a little bit, and it just felt so drawn out to do anything. As a single player, it was so hard to make your line go where you wanted it to go. I felt like I was struggling with it the entire time.
Me too. It just wasn't fun when you have to finagle with the controls so much.
Yeah, I feel like Mario Party has never done these kind of games right.
Well, they have a few more Mario Parties out there, so we'll see if they get any better.
I wouldn't get my hopes up. Unfortunately, there's not a ton to say about this one. It's not really fun to play, it's not exciting, and it doesn't control well. It's one that you're going to groan every time you have to play it, no matter which side you're on. The whole game, you're just struggling with the controls. And while we have played worse minigames, they're pretty rare. This one's getting 2 stars out of 5.
Yeah, this one just didn't do it for us. Well, that's all we have for you today. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we'll be reviewing Hey Batter Batter. I think we all know this one's gonna be about baseball.
Hey, don't spoil the surprise, we gotta give them some reason to come back.
Well, you never know with Mario Party. I could be wrong.
That's better. If you want to know what this minigame's gonna be about, you'll have to come back to watch it.
Hope to see you then.
I'm the best.
Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. I love cake. Whipping up the perfect cake batter and smelling it cook in the oven can be heavenly. Unfortunately, this is about baseball batters and not cake batter, which makes this entire intro absolutely pointless. Hey Batter Batter is an item minigame that tasks the player to hit a baseball at giant signs with a picture of an item on them. If they hit one, they win that item. Batter up!
Item minigames don't tend to be a lot of fun, and this one's no exception.
Yeah, they have their place, but they just feel like really easy excuses to give somebody the chance for a new item. This one's kind of the same. There's not much to it, and you just kind of go in and see what you walk away with.
Yeah, I mean, first off, there's a huge delay in the controls, so you press it when you think you would swing a bat, but it's actually like 2 seconds later.
Yeah, that confused me for the first 2 or 3 times I played this one. If you just go into this randomly whenever it comes up on the Mario Party game board, I feel like there's a pretty good chance you'll leave with nothing, honestly.
Yeah, and that's really not fun for an item minigame. And then even if you are able to figure out the controls and you do end up hitting the baseball, there's no way to control where it's going.
Yeah, to get the timing down in a way that will allow you to hit the ball in exactly the direction you want to go to get the item you want has to be nearly impossible, especially with that delay in the controls. If you're going in to play this one, I recommend just being happy with whatever you leave with.
Yeah, on this one, if you get something, hey, you're a winner.
So overall, like pretty much every other item minigame we've played, this one's not really that great. Sure, it's a way for you to go in and get a chance at a new item for yourself, but you're not going to have a lot of fun in the process. If you go in with a hope of trying to get one particular item, you'll probably be disappointed because it's really hard to aim the ball in the direction you want it to go. And the fact that there's such a big lag between when you hit the A button and when you actually swing the bat just makes it even harder and more frustrating. So like pretty much every other item minigame we've reviewed so far, this one's getting 2 stars out of 5.
Gosh, what a rough week. We haven't played any really fun minigames yet. Well, that's all we have for today. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we'll be reviewing Hide and Sneak.
Well, let's see if it can redeem this week's minigames at all. Come back to find out.
Hope to see you then. Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. Today we're playing the 1 vs 3 hide and sneak. And you know what? This is one time where a play on words makes the name of this make less sense than if they had just stuck to the original name. Hide and seek would have perfectly described the game. 3 players have to hide behind different objects and the single player has 3 rounds to find them all. And if they do, they win. So really, hiding and seeking is exactly what you're doing. Hiding and sneaking just kind of describes one side using 2 similar words. Ridiculous.
I didn't mind this one. It mostly came down to luck because if you're the single player, you really have no indication on where the other players are actually hiding. You can see them running around the screen while they make their decisions, but it's not actually based in what they hit in reality, it's just there for show.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of weird. When we first played it, I was on the team of 3 and I saw my character run around and I was like, I did not do that. I knew exactly where I was gonna pick right away. But I guess it has to make it visually appealing.
Yeah, I think one way this could have been improved is if you were able to watch the players run around a little bit at the beginning and then have the curtain go down at the last second so they could try and pull off some sort of sneaky change without you seeing. At least that would have given you some idea of where they might be. This is pretty much all just random.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it's still kind of fun, but it just doesn't give you any way to strategize.
No, definitely. Even if you're on the team of 3, you can't really strategize with your teammate because anything you say will be heard by the single player and give your positions away. So you all kind of just have to go to a hiding place and hope that somebody else picks one that's not chosen.
Yeah, it would have been nice to know where your other teammates are hiding too, so then you can split up, but there's no way to really do that.
So overall, this is an okay minigame, it just has a few flaws. It is fun to try and hide from the single player, and as a single player, it's also fun to try and figure out where they're hiding at. It's too bad there wasn't some way to strategize in this, whether you were the single player or the 3 players on the team. Having some sort of method of giving this a little bit more gameplay besides picking a direction and picking a hiding place would have gone a long way. But as is, it's still not bad. We're giving it 3 stars out of 5.
Yeah, when this one pops up, you won't feel bad playing it. Well, thanks for watching today, and if you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we'll be reviewing Hyper Hydrants.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty hyped up to play this one.
Oh, I always am to play Mario Party. Hope you guys are too.
Come back to play it with us.
Hope to see you then.
I'm the best.
Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. I hate when the local fire hydrants get all hyper and rambunctious. It's like, just keep it down to a trickle, you know? And that brings us to today's minigame, the 2 vs 2 hyper hydrants. This one has one player on the team pumping water by alternating on the A and B buttons while the other player moves the hose. The goal is to put out the giant Podoboo's flames, and whichever team puts out the most will win the minigame.
Man, these fire hydrants were just out of control.
They were definitely too hyper.
Yeah, I mean, when you were the player trying to control them by pumping that water into the hose, it was a little challenging. The controls kind of reminded us of balloon bursts. There was definitely a rhythm you had to find to be able to pump the water as much as possible, so that was kind of hard.
Yeah, I didn't really enjoy it in that minigame or this one, unfortunately. Playing as the player who actually controlled where the hose would spray was more fun, although it still wasn't great, I didn't think. It could be rewarding every time you would put out the flames, especially when the game was really close and you were able to keep a really small lead.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised. This one did have a little bit of intensity because we ended up being pretty close every game. I have to say though, I didn't really enjoy playing as the hose or the hydrant. I mean, the hose was definitely better, but I just think there wasn't a whole lot to it.
No, there wasn't. It was pretty forgettable, honestly. I feel like it could have been better.
Me too. I mean, don't get me wrong, it wasn't the worst minigame I've ever played. It just wasn't anything too special.
So overall, that's kind of the theme with this one. It's okay, it's just not great. If you're controlling the hose, it's kind of fun. You're not going to look forward to playing this one, but you're not going to hate it either. However, if you're the one that's pumping the water into the hose, it's not so good. You're constantly just mashing on A and B and trying to find the right rhythm. So while there isn't anything horrible to say about this minigame, there's not really anything that great to it either. We're giving it 3 stars out of 5.
Well, that's all we have for you today. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell to get notified for our next video. We'll be reviewing Ice Rink Risk next. I guess the ice might be too slippery, which is why it's risky.
Okay, well, let's find out.
Hope to see you then. Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. Raise your hand if you've ever fallen down on the ice rink before. Okay, you can put them down. I can't see your hands. But did you know that that isn't the only risk you run by being on an ice rink? For instance, sometimes some rogue spiked Koopa shells might make their way onto the rink. And that brings us sliding into today's free-for-all minigame, Ice Rink Risk. Your only goal here is to be the last one standing by avoiding the spiked Koopa shells. Last the longest and you'll win. Just don't slip up or you'll leave with nothing.
Well, I think it's safe to say that we both had a pretty good time with this one.
Yeah, it was a risky game, but man was it fun.
Yeah, it really was, especially the longer it went on. They would keep adding more spiked Koopa shells, which just made it harder and harder to survive and really up the intensity of it.
Yeah, I really liked that. In the beginning, it could be kind of easy to not even have to move to avoid them, but as soon as there was 2 and then 3 shells added, it was really intense.
One thing I do want to say is that at the beginning when the first one falls down, it always falls in a random spot, and I think it happened more than once where at least one person was just immediately out of the game because it fell on their head before you even know that the game is starting.
Yeah, that was a little unfair, but it was just bad luck, I think.
It would have been nice if it just fell in the middle.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't do that, actually.
Me either, but it was still a lot of fun. It reminds me of Bombs Away from the first 2 Mario parties where you just have a little slice of land and you're just trying to maneuver out of the way of enemies.
Yeah, I like that style of minigame. It makes it fun and a little chaotic.
Yeah, so overall, this was a pretty great one. We both had a good time with it and there's not much bad to say about it. It is a little annoying that at the beginning of the minigame, you never know where the spike Koopa shell will fall, and sometimes it does just fall on your head before you even have a chance to play. But other than that, it's pretty good. It's a lot like Bombs Away if you've ever played those, but I also don't think it quite reaches that same level of intensity and fun that those ones do. That's not to say this is bad though, so we're still giving it 4 stars out of 5.
Yeah, I'd be happy to play this minigame when it popped up. Well, that's all we have for you today. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we'll be reviewing Locked Out. I guess I'm not the only one that forgets my keys sometimes. Hopefully Luigi has a spare.
Well, come back for more great jokes next time.
Hope to see you then.
Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. Ask anyone and they will all tell you that the best maneuver for getting away from enemies or even friends is to just unlock a door and go through it. It's common sense that once one person goes through a door, it's rendered useless for anyone else and they'll be stuck outside. And that's a good piece of knowledge for today's battle minigame, Locked Out. This one sees everyone fighting to get the right key to make it through one of the doors leading to the next room. While going for a key that matches the doors, feel free to punch your frenemies so you can steal the one they have, whatever helps you win. Whoever makes it through the most ever decreasing amount of doorways will win the minigame as well as all of the coins on the line. Where one door opens, another one closes for someone else.
I had a lot of fun playing this minigame.
Yeah, it was definitely really exciting. I liked this one a lot too.
I think one of the things that made it so exciting was the placement of the keys. Where the keys were was pretty random, so it created a lot of chaos trying to get to them.
Yeah, if there wasn't one right in front of you, you knew to kind of adjust your strategy and just kind of start punching whoever did get a key. I really liked that too. It was nice being able to fight and punch people to steal the keys. It added a good layer of battle and, intensity to it, I thought.
Yeah, I agree. I really liked having the option to punch other players and to take the key from them. I feel like it added a nice level of complexity to this one and strategy.
It did. This one was always really exciting. There was a lot of times when I would be running after the last person that had a key, trying to reach them before they reached the door, and it always made things really frantic. It also made it really frantic when you had the key and someone was trying to punch you. Trying to get to the door before they stole it was heart-wrenching sometimes.
Oh, I know. I noticed a couple of times you did this like dodge and circle around them kind of move. I thought that was really clever because it led the people, including me, off your track and you got to do a kind of workaround from them.
Yeah, it's all about just placing as much space between you and them as you can. So overall, this was pretty great. I don't know if either one of us has anything bad to say about it. It's a pretty frantic battle minigame that's a lot of fun. The random placement of the keys gives us a good bit of strategy where you have to decide whether to go for a key or start just punching people that have keys if the keys are further away from you at the start. It's fun being able to battle and steal the keys, and it's also fun trying to race to the doorway before anyone steals your key. There's a nice sense of victory at the end of this one if you make it all the way to the end. We're giving this one 5 out of 5 stars.
Woohoo! Yeah, this one was a lot of fun to play. Well, thank you for watching. And if you enjoyed our video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Your support means a lot to us. Next up, we'll be reviewing Log Jam.
I've always preferred log peanut butter myself.
Me too. You know, you take the celery, put on the peanut butter, put the little ants on there too. Great snack.
But log jam is good too. Let's see if the minigame is just as good.
Hope to see you then. Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. Sometimes in nature, if a log doesn't shower often enough, it will start to develop a gross, smelly goop between its toes. This is commonly referred to as log jam. But that's not the sort of log jam we're talking about today. This 2 versus 2 minigame called Log Jam has each teammate hitting the right button as quick as they can to cut the logs. Whichever team cuts the most before the time runs out will win. Just don't hit the wrong one or things will jam up and create a backlog for your team.
Well, this was definitely an enjoyable minigame. I felt like this is just a better version of Looney Lumberjacks from Mario Party 2. This is pretty much exactly what that minigame should have been.
Oh, I completely agree. I did not like that minigame, and I was really worried when I saw another log minigame in this one. But it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was. It was fun trying to hit the button as fast as you could and stay ahead of the other team. A lot of times it really came down to just a point or two, which made it exciting.
Yeah, this one was surprisingly intense. I feel like when I was the first player, I was a little delayed on pressing the button as fast as I could because it took me a moment to see the letter and press the right button. But when you're the second player, you're like pressing that button as fast as you can. You already see it, you've been waiting, and that was a little bit more fun.
Yeah, you're both hitting the same button, so you have more time as a second player to prepare since you can see what the first player has hit. I wonder if it would have been more fun to have each player hit a different button.
I feel like that might have been a little bit better because I feel like as a second player, I had enough time to figure out what the button was and get ready to press it. Whereas as the first player, I felt like I was almost delaying our team because it took me a moment to realize what button it was and to get ready to press it.
Yeah, but it's still fun this way too.
Definitely, and way more fun than Looney Lumberjacks.
Oh yeah, for sure. So overall, this is a pretty great minigame. I've always liked the ones where it gives you a button prompt and you have to press the right button as quick as you can. For some reason, it just scratches a right itch for me, and this is one of those. Because both players on a team are going to hit the same button, it's easier to play as a second player since you have more time to prepare to hit the button. It might have been better if it gave each of you a different random button, but as is, it doesn't ruin this one. It's still way fun, especially when the scores between the two teams are really close. We're giving this one 4 stars out of 5.
Wow, we've been playing some great minigames back to back. Well, thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed our video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we'll be reviewing Mario's Puzzle Party. I'm excited for this one. I love puzzles.
Well, let's see if this one is just as good.
Hope to see you then.
I'm the best.
Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. Today's minigame is called Mario Party. Wait, it looks like I misread the title. It's actually Mario's Puzzle Party. Sorry about that, guess I missed a word there. Mario's Puzzle Party is a free-for-all minigame that has you matching up 2 or more of the same colored block to make them disappear. Every time they do, you'll get points. Occasionally, a thwomp will come down as well and smash the blocks to half their normal size. This helps squish things together so that you have a bigger chance of two light colors lining up next to each other. Whoever gets to 100 points first wins.
What another great minigame.
Yeah, there was a surprising amount of depth to this one. They could have released this as its own game almost.
Yeah, they really could have. I mean, it was really similar to Tetris, so if you like that, you'll really like this one.
Yeah, usually minigames don't really have this amount of depth in them. I feel like it also took longer to play than your average minigame as well, but not really in a bad way. It was fun.
Yeah, I liked that it took a little bit longer. I feel like sometimes they're so short and you just don't really get into the game. But this one, you're right, it felt like it could have been its own game.
They did take one step to making it into a more full game than just a regular minigame. If you unlock this one for free play, you can change the amount of points you need to win. So instead of it being 100 points to win, you can go all the way up to 1,000 points, which will really make it last a while. I think that was a pretty good move.
Oh wow, yeah, that's a great idea. We did it up to 100 points and it took a long time. So I feel like if you did 1,000, you could easily spend your whole day playing it.
So overall, we both really like this one. I don't know if we have anything bad to say about it. There's a surprising amount of depth, and you could think that you're just lining up two colors, so how much depth could there be? But there's a lot. If you start chaining combos together, you get even more points, so it really helps your score. And using a thwomp to compress the blocks in just the right place so that you can get a bunch of blocks touching each other also really helps.
Yeah, this minigame was actually kind of addictive.
It was for sure. I don't think there's any score to give it other than 5 out of 5 stars.
Woohoo! Another great game. Well, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell if you enjoyed this video. Next up, we'll be reviewing Merry Go Chomp.
Ooh, it's a battle minigame. Well, I'm gonna be the Merry Go Champ at this one.
Not if I chomp you first.
Well, I'll take that as a challenge. If you want to see what happens, come back to watch it.
Hope to see you then. Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. Today we're eating up another battle minigame, Merry Go Chomp. If you remember Bowser's Big Blast from Mario Party 2, you know exactly what you're getting here. And if you don't, we'll link the video below for you to watch. This is a minigame all about random chance. Each player will pick a section of the merry-go-round and hope they don't get chomped by the chain chomp. Get chomped and you're out. Not to mention seriously injured in all likelihood. Whoever stays in the longest wins the minigame.
So I think it's safe to say that we both had a lot of fun with this one. It's another one of those completely random minigames that all comes down to luck, but that doesn't mean it's not a good time. I don't think it quite lives up to Bowser's Big Blast, but it's pretty close.
Yeah, I really did like this one. I think one thing that held it back from being as good as Bowser's Big Blast was the fact that there was an extra spot in the middle, so if Chain Chomp landed on it, he just kept going around. It didn't have as much intenseness because it had to keep going around, and because it took a little bit longer to find out if you were going to be chomped or not.
Yeah, I think that's why Bowser's Big Blast is the best one of these random minigames. Having to push down a lever and immediately see if you've won or lost is pretty much the perfect way to do this. And like you said, there's really no reason to have an extra section on the merry-go-round here. It really makes no sense.
Yeah, this one was a lot of fun, just not as much fun as Bowser's Big Blast.
Overall, that's pretty much a theme of this minigame. We definitely liked it, and if you like these random luck-based minigames, you'll like this one too. But when you compare it to something like Bowser's Big Blast, it's not quite as good. It scratched that same itch though. They did make an odd choice by putting one extra section in the merry-go-round, and there's really no reason for it to be there. But other than that, it's pretty good. We're giving it 4 stars out of 5.
Well, that's all we have for today. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we'll be reviewing Messy Memory.
Yeah, my brain's always cluttered up. I gotta clear that thing out.
You and Mario both.
We'll come back to watch it. Hope to see you then. Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. You're in for a treat today. We're playing the free-for-all Messy Memory. Honestly, I'm surprised this minigame wasn't created earlier. It's such a riveting concept. It starts with an assortment of items on the shelves, and you have to memorize their places. When the minigame starts, your job is to put as many back in the right place as you can, and whoever puts the most back will win the minigame. Like I said, riveting. Who wouldn't want to play a minigame where you're basically doing chores and cleaning up a messy room?
Wow, you're really selling me on this one. But it was actually really fun, even if your description did make it seem like you were just doing chores. It was actually pretty challenging too.
Yeah, it was, but in a good way, I think. There was enough objects there where it really was a challenge to put them all in the right places. A lot of times these memory minigames are just really easy and come down to just finding all the matches before time runs out. But because there's so many objects, you're probably not going to put all of them back in the right place.
Yeah, I think they really set this one up well. I think the concept of it was pretty fun, and there wasn't too many objects or too few objects that you felt like you didn't have enough time to put them back or that it was too easy. Most of the time, I barely finished, so I feel like it was a good amount of items for how much time you had.
Yeah, so overall, we had a lot of fun with this one. It was challenging in a way that these kind of mini games often aren't. There's enough items there to where you're probably not going to get all of them placed back in their right locations. And because the time limit is a little bit small, you don't have much time to think about it or look at the other players' screens and see where they've put their objects. Plus, there's a nice little feature in this one where you can close a curtain over your part of the screen when you're done, so it gives people even less of a chance to cheat. That's a nice touch. It's not the most amazing minigame we've ever played, but it's a lot of fun. We're giving it 4 stars out of 5.
Wow, we've had back-to-back good mini-games. Well, that's all we have for you today. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we'll be reviewing Motor Rooter.
Let's see if it's another good one. Hope to see you then.
Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. Pipes are a staple of the Mario series. You'd be hard-pressed to find a Mario game that didn't feature a pipe in some way. But have you ever wondered what it's actually like inside a pipe? Turns out it isn't always a cakewalk. Motor Rooter is a dual minigame that finds both players racing a Koopa shell through a pipe. Along the way, you'll run into acceleration pads, as well as amps that will electrocute you and slow you down if you hit them. The first to the end will win this minigame.
I thought this was a pretty good one. It was exciting and really fast, but I liked that.
Yeah, I liked this one too. I really liked the fact that the amps and the acceleration pads were random each time you played it, so you didn't memorize the track and it felt a little bit fresh every time.
Yeah, and not only did they change up the location of them, but they also changed the amount of them that would be there as well. So sometimes there would be a ton of amps, and sometimes there would only be 2 or 3. It really did help this feel a little bit fresher every time.
Yeah, and I also liked the fact that there was plenty of acceleration pads. Sometimes I'd miss them and I'd be worried that I wasn't ever going to make it to the end, but then there was a few coming up. I felt like there was a good amount. If you missed it, you were still okay.
For sure. The only slight knock against this game I could find was that the controls could sometimes be a little bit finicky. I would sometimes go a lane or 2 further to the left or right than I wanted to, and miss an acceleration pad, which was always annoying. And because you can go around the entire pipe in a full circle, sometimes it's hard to know if you should be hitting left or right on the control stick if you're all the way at the top, because, you know, you hit right to go up there, but if you pull off the control stick, do you keep going right, or do you hit left now to go back where you wanted to go?
Yeah, I had that problem too. I didn't think the controls were that refined. Another thing about this minigame is that it was a dual minigame, but I didn't spend any time looking at where you were. I was really just focused on my course, so I either knew I was close to beating you towards the end, or I won. It felt a little bit disconnected for being a dual minigame.
Yeah, usually these dual minigames have a little bit more back and forth action. This one's too fast to pay attention to the other players, so you kind of just do your own thing and don't bother with them until the end. But overall, it's still a pretty fun minigame. It's really fast and action-packed, which is fun. And the fact that it changes up not only the location of the amps and acceleration pads every time, but also the amount of them, is pretty cool. It also gives you enough speed boosts to not completely punish you if you miss one, which is always nice. However, some of the controls are slightly finicky, and you might have to take some time to get used to them. And for a dual minigame, you're not going to spend a whole lot of time actually dueling with the other player, but that's okay. We're still giving it 4 stars out of 5.
Well, that's all we have for you today. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. It really helps us grow our channel. Next up, we'll be reviewing MPIQ.
I believe it's pronounced Mapik.
Is this a tomato or tomato kind of situation?
No, it's definitely just pronounced Mapik. I don't even know what MPIQ would stand for.
Guess you'll have to come back to find out. Hope to see you then.
Fish! Start!
Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. Are you ready for a quiz? Everyone loves tests, right? Of course. We're taking a test today with the free-for-all minigame MPIQ. The game will give you multiple choice questions dealing with Mario Party and everything in it. Your goal is to get 3 questions right before anyone else does. Whoever does it first will win this minigame.
You know, I never thought I'd be taking a quiz on Mario Party knowledge. I have to say, it was more fun than I thought it would be.
Yeah, it was okay. I didn't mind it. It definitely had some issues though.
Yeah, some questions were way too easy, like what color is Mario's hat? And others were pretty hard, like how many squares are there in a Battle Royale board?
Yeah, they were just really all over the board. I also thought it took way too long for the questions to fully show up. It kind of populates them one letter at a time, but the speed on it is so slow that you're just waiting for it to finish.
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes I buzzed in even before the question was fully up there, just because I was tired of waiting. But don't do that. That was a bad strategy because I lost every time I did.
Yeah, sometimes it does trick you if you try and answer too quickly.
Yeah, I thought it would ask one question, but turns out it was a completely different question.
It would have been nice if it maybe just showed you the entire question at once, and then everyone could just answer as soon as they could.
Yeah, I think that would be a much better minigame.
So overall, this one's okay. You pretty much know what you're getting into here. It's a pretty standard quiz minigame where you're just answering questions right, but it does have some flaws. Some of the questions are really easy and some of them are really hard. You really never know what you're going to get. And added to that is the fact that the questions show up extremely slowly. It gets to the point where you almost just want to answer even before knowing the whole question, just to make the game start moving a little bit. But it's not entirely bad. It's nice to have some of these minigames scattered in with all the more action-oriented Mario Party minigames. So we're giving it 3 stars out of 5.
I feel like we had a good variety of minigames so far this week. Well, that's all we have for you today. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. We really appreciate it when you guys do that. Next up, we'll be reviewing Parasol Plummets. Do you think this minigame should have been called Parasol Plumber?
Oh, I see what you did there. Good one.
Get it? Because Mario's a plumber?
If you want to watch Parasol Plumber, come back for our next video.
Hope to see you then. Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. Oof, ouch, owie. Today we're playing another dangerous minigame that you should never try at home. Trust me, I know, because I did try it at home. It's the free-for-all minigame Parasol Plummet. Each character grabs onto a parasol and floats around trying to collect as many coins as possible. If you close the parasol, you'll fall down, and if you open it, you'll rise up. But, like I said, don't try this one in real life. I jumped off my roof with an umbrella earlier, and I'm still feeling it. It hurts to sit down.
Well, that sounds like a pretty rough story.
I guess I should have known. You never want to try any of the Mario Party games at home, unless you're playing them on the TV.
And even then, a lot of those aren't even good on the TV. Including this one. It's okay, but we've definitely played a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it was kind of boring and bland. The only good thing was that you got coins.
Yeah, that's really the biggest saving grace in this one. At least you're leaving with something positive. It's definitely not fun to play. You're just kind of going up and down, and you don't have a ton of control over where you go, so it's just kind of unrewarding to play it.
Yeah, and there's not even too much strategy either. One thing we did discover, though, is that you should try and stick to the sides, because then you'll have the first opportunity to get the big money bags. However, it does mean you might get hit by the hammer bros first, though, and there's not really time to move out of the way.
Yeah, when you found that strategy, I tried it out after that, and it definitely does help out a lot. Even though you will get hit by some hammers, you still end up well ahead, I'm pretty sure. That's the only real strategy you can do in this minigame.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot to it, but at least you get coins.
Overall, you're not gonna love this minigame or hate it. It's kind of bland and boring to play, but at least you end up with some coins. The only real strategy we found in maximizing our coins is to just stick to the edges of the screen, where you're guaranteed to get the coins before anyone else. It does have the downside of getting hit by hammers, but you'll still probably end up ahead. Other than that, just remember that you'll be leaving with some coins, and don't get too caught up on playing this one. It'll be done soon. We're giving it 3 stars out of 5.
Well, that's it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we'll be reviewing Picking Panic.
Who would ever pick Panic? I definitely prefer to be calm.
Yeah, it's not my first choice either.
Well, we'll see what we think of the minigame.
Hope to see you then.
Finish. Finished.
Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. It's never really talked about, but the business of cherry picking is extremely dangerous. If you're a cherry picker, you have your work cut out for you. The best method for cherry harvesting that professionals have found is to swing from a trapeze and pass them to a partner who is also on a trapeze. And that's exactly what today's 2 vs 2 minigame Picking Panic looks to replicate. You and your partner are both hanging from trapezes with one partner grabbing the cherries and passing them to the other for them to deposit. To do this, your timing has to be just right. You hold A to grab and let go to release, so make sure to keep a good rhythm. Whichever team collects the most cherries wins.
This one was a lot of fun, but definitely a challenge to get that timing right.
Yeah, the first time we played this, we did not do very well. It's hard timing it just right to pass it to your partner because you kind of just toss the cherries into the air and hope that they're in the right position to grab them.
And depending upon the size of the cherries, they can go a lot farther too, so you really need to time it right, but it's kind of tricky when you have no control of the other player swinging.
Yeah, it seemed like single cherries went really far. I feel like we had a tough time with the second player grabbing those ones.
Yeah, I think we did, but at the same time, hey, I'd rather get the 3 cherries anyway.
True. It might sound like this game is really hard, but it's also pretty rewarding to play it. It feels really good to grab a cherry and pass it to your partner and have them put it down into the barrel.
Yeah, and once you got into a good rhythm with your partner, it worked out really well. It was just that initial trying to figure out the pace in the beginning.
Yeah. So overall, this was a pretty enjoyable minigame. It's one that's really about accuracy, and you have to have a little bit of mental acuity to do well in it.
But not a lot.
Just a little bit. It's a nice change of pace from a lot of Mario Party minigames that are either all action or all about some sort of mental testing. This one's kind of a nice mix of both. Once you get on a good rhythm with your partner, you'll do pretty well at this one. You just have to figure out the right timing for it. We're giving it 4 stars out of 5.
If I was cherry picking minigames, I'd pick this one first.
It is pretty fun.
Well, that's all we've got for you today. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we'll be reviewing Picture Imperfect.
Sounds like every picture I take of myself.
Yeah, clearly I'm not in that one.
That would only make it worse.
I think you mean better?
I don't know about that. Let's see if this minigame is better than our pictures.
Hope to see you then.
Finish. Finished.
Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. Have you ever seen a picture of yourself and thought, wow, I'm really ugly? I know I haven't. But today's free-for-all minigame, Picture Imperfect, is all about funny faces in pictures. Each player is tasked with creating a face, and to do this, you have to stop on each of the different facial features. It starts off slow, but each one gets faster and faster, so it gets pretty rough. Whoever makes the most accurate face wins.
This was one of those minigames that's really fun and really funny to watch as well. It reminds me of Facelift.
Oh yeah, it does! If you guys haven't seen that video, we'll link it below because they are pretty similar.
The longer this one goes on, the faster the facial features spin, so it's pretty rare to get all of them right, and it leads to some really funny faces.
Yeah, it does. I feel like some of the faces we made for Mario are Mario in different universes. They were pretty funny.
They were. This one definitely gets pretty challenging. You really have to nail getting the first 1 or 2 facial features if you want a shot at winning.
That being said, though, I'm not really sure how they award points because sometimes people had more correct facial features than others, but got less points.
Yeah, that definitely happened to us. I'm a little confused on that too. Maybe the later facial features that spin faster are weighted differently than the early ones, but even then, some of the scores we saw wouldn't really make sense, so I'm not sure how they tallied it up.
Yeah, me neither. There was good variety, though, in how many characters that popped up.
Yeah, that's always a nice feature. Overall, this is a really enjoyable minigame. If you like a minigame that's going to make you laugh, this one's for you. It's really fun to see all the faces that end up being made by people. They get pretty wacky. It gets pretty challenging because of how fast the facial features start going by the end of it. So to win this one, you really have to get the first couple facial features right, otherwise you won't have a chance. And luckily those are going slow enough where, if you just take your time, you can usually do it pretty regularly. Having said that, the point system they used for this is kind of confusing and we couldn't figure out what it was based on. But that doesn't make this a bad minigame. We're still giving it 4 stars out of 5.
Well, that's it for today. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we'll be reviewing pipe cleaners.
Oh, that's my favorite object. I love pipe cleaners.
Really, you strike me more as a popsicle stick kind of guy.
They're a close second. Let's see if this minigame is just as good as pipe cleaners are to me.
Hope to see you then.
Finish. I'm the best. Start.
Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. Up today is the free-for-all minigame Pipe Cleaners. This one is all about cleaning out the pipes that are seemingly infested with baby Bowsers. How many babies did Mrs. Bowser have anyway? Each pipe has you hitting the control stick either up and down, along with hitting the A or B button to bonk the baby Bowser inside, and whichever player bonks the most babies will win the minigame.
I had a lot of fun with this minigame.
Yeah, me too. It's extremely enjoyable, I thought.
I think it was a good challenge too, because not only did you have to press the right button, but you also had to get the control stick in the right spot. So I feel like it really worked my brain.
Me too. There's been some other mini games that are all kind of based on just hitting the right button, but this adds an extra level of complexity to it by making you hit the control stick too. And the fact that your brain has to figure out the right direction makes it a little bit more complicated, but in a really fun way.
Yeah, it really does. And you're competing against everyone else and you have no idea how many they have. So it's really intense too.
Yeah, everybody's scores don't show up on the screen until the end, so you have no way of knowing how well you're doing, which means you just kind of have to go all out through the whole thing. And we've had some pretty close games out of this one. It's come down to just 1 or 2 points by the end.
Yeah, it got really competitive. One good strategy that we found though was at the end when the 4 baby Bowsers pop up, it's to anticipate that. So you can kind of tell when they pop up because there's a little pause right before it. So get ready and press one of the controls first. And then you'll be able to get all 4. Otherwise, if you hesitate until they're on the screen, you probably won't get all 4, but you might get 3.
Yeah, getting all 4 of those can be exactly what you need to pull ahead by just a single point and win this one. It's a good strategy to remember. Overall, there's not a whole lot of bad stuff to say about this one. We both really enjoyed it. It's really rewarding to hit the right button and the right direction on the control stick and get all the baby Bowsers. It definitely takes some mental work to do it, but it adds a nice layer to the gameplay that you don't always get out of Mario Party. The games end up pretty close, and since you can't see everyone's score until the end, you want to make sure to do your best and go as quick as you can through the entire thing. Again, there's not really anything bad to say about this one, so I think we're going to give it 5 out of 5 stars.
Woohoo! Yeah, this one was a lot of fun. Well, that's it for today. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Maybe we'll have more 5-star minigames coming up.
I hope so.
Well, next up, we're reviewing the dual minigame, Pop Gun Pickoff. And with a title like that, you're not going to want to miss it.
You know, we always called them soda guns. I guess it must be a regional difference.
Guess so.
Come back to watch the minigame.
Hope to see you then.
I'm the best. Start.
welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. It's time to duel off with another duel minigame today. We're playing Pop Gun Pickoff. This one has both of the duelists aiming their pop guns not at each other, but instead at the window of a building. Your aim is to pop the most shots at Baby Bowser. But watch out, because random toads will also come to the windows to see what all the commotion is about. And if you hit one, you'll lose a whopping 10 points. So it's enough to make or break the game if you hit one. Whichever duelist ends with the most points will win this minigame.
Wow, this one was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I really liked it.
It was really intense to play. I think a lot of that was because we were so neck and neck every time we played it. It always seemed like it came down to less than 5 points, so every shot really matters.
Yeah, it really did. Unless I hit a toad and then you pulled ahead by a lot. So avoid those at all costs.
Yeah, seriously. Having the toads take away 10 points is devastating. I feel like it should just be like 1 point or 5 points at most. 10 points pretty much means you're never going to win if you hit even a single one.
Yeah, it was really hard to catch up. And it's actually pretty easy to hit them because your first instinct is just to press the button as fast as you can. So when something pops up, you're just ready to go. But don't make that mistake.
You know what's funny about this one is that if you think about it, it's really just a button masher. You're just aiming your gun and mashing on A as fast as you can to get the most points.
Wait, you're right. Did we actually enjoy a button mashing minigame?
I think so. They really did it right with this one. If all button mashers were done in this way, button mashing minigames would be way better. This is how you do it right.
Gosh, well, hats off to them. They did a really good job with this button masher. It was really fun to play, and it made us get really competitive. It was one of those minigames that I had to stand up while playing because it was so intense.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Overall, there's not a whole lot of bad stuff to say about this one. It's super intense and you'll really get into it. For a button masher, it's an incredible minigame. Even for a regular minigame, it's pretty incredible. It gets really competitive, and a lot of the time the points come down to less than 5 by the end, so every shot you take matters. The only thing to remember about this one is to pay close attention to where the toads are. Hitting a toad a single time will knock 10 points off your score, and it'll pretty much guarantee that you won't win this one, because there's no catching up from that. But really that just makes it more intense to play. It doesn't hold it back at all. We're giving this one 5 out of 5 stars.
Whoa! Another great minigame. Well, that's it for today. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we're going to be reviewing Puddle Paddle. The name of the minigame sounds like the motion of rowing. Puddle, paddle, you know?
Okay, yeah, well, how about we just go on to the next minigame? Come back to watch the review with us.
Hope to see you then.
Yes. I'm the best.
Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. You know, it's been a while since we've played a true back-to-the-basics button masher, but honestly, it hasn't been long enough. That's why I'm not very excited about today's 2 vs 2 minigame Puddle Paddle. You and your teammates are in charge of paddling your raft across a small moat collecting coins. To do this, you of course have to mash the A button while trying to steer in the same direction. But watch out, because the Hammer Bro is being sweet and sour today. Along with throwing out some coins, they're also throwing out their trademark hammers that will slow you down if they hit you. There's no winning or losing in this one. Just collect as many coins as you can before time runs out, and dream of a day when Mario Party finally does away with button mashing minigames.
Yeah, this one wasn't very fun to play, but at least you got coins.
Yep, that's pretty much the saving grace of this one.
Where the Hammer Bro threw out the coins was totally random, so sometimes they just landed on top of you and you didn't even need to paddle for them, but sometimes you had to go pretty far to get them and ended up getting blocked by the other boat. It wasn't very even and it wasn't very fair.
Yeah, it's pretty much complete luck how well you do in this one.
Well, and on top of that, the coins disappear too, so you might be paddling as fast as you can to go get one, but when you get there, it goes away.
Yeah, that happened to us with a bag of coins. It just doesn't really make sense to me. Why not just leave them there until somebody gets them? Why do you have to make them disappear?
Yeah, I really didn't get that.
Overall, there's not a ton to say about this one. It's not a very good minigame, but at least you're gonna leave us some coins. It's totally random where the coins and hammers fall, so you might do well and you might not, depending on the luck of the draw. It also seems kind of dumb that the coins can disappear if nobody gets them. There were times when we'd be going towards a coin and it would disappear right before we got there, which is always really annoying. And the fact that it's a button mashing minigame doesn't help this one at all either. If this wasn't the kind of minigame where everyone was pretty much guaranteed to leave with some coins, I think it's safe to say that we'd give this one 2 stars. But the fact that you will leave ahead at the end of the day does help this one, so we're giving it 3 stars out of 5.
Well, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we're going to be reviewing Pump, Pumpin' Away.
The fact that they put pump twice in the name makes me really afraid that this one's going to have us pumping by button mashing. I hope not.
Oh gosh. Guess you'll have to come back to watch it. Hope to see you then.
I'm the best.
Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. It's time to set our sights high and shoot for the stars with today's 2 vs 2 minigame, Pump, Pumpin' Away. If this one looks familiar to you, it's because it is. This is really just Mario Party 3's version of Balloon Burst for Mario Party 2. If you haven't watched that one, you should. But in case you're the stubborn type, I'll explain the concept here as well. The goal of each team is to send their rocket shooting up highest, and to do this, you mash on the A and B buttons to pump air into it. The key here is rhythm. If you hit the button when the meter flashes red, you'll get maximum pumpage into your rocket, so time your presses carefully, but don't go too slow either. You do want to win after all.
So I feel like this minigame has pretty much all the same drawbacks as Balloon Burst did, starting off with the fact that it's really hard to find the sweet spot when you're pumping. The meter flashes red when it's full of air, but it's just really hard to get that timing down.
Oh, I agree. I really didn't like that in Balloon Burst, and I really don't like it in this one either. But comparing it to Balloon Burst you're able to see your balloon get bigger and bigger. This one you can't tell how well you're doing or how well the other team is doing until the end when your rocket shoots up. It's a little hard to tell if you're doing it well or not.
That's true. You could argue that it makes it more tense because you have to wait until the end and see your rockets go up, and you're just kind of waiting for it to either stop or go higher than the other teams. But I guess the drawback is that you don't know if you're doing well when you're actually playing.
Yeah, I mean, that didn't make or break the game. Mostly it's just the controls that didn't make it very fun.
Yep, this is just another button masher, and it's about as fun as most of those ones. So overall, if you've seen our review of Balloon Burst or played it yourself, you're getting pretty much the exact same thing here. You're just mashing on the buttons and trying to pump as much air into your rocket as you can. There's a little bit of strategy here because you really have to focus on your timing, but the game just doesn't make it very easy to do that. It's really hard to figure out exactly how fast you should hit the buttons, and it's also hard to know if you're doing well or not because there's no visual indication of how much air is going into your rocket until the end when they actually blast off. So unfortunately, these issues are making us give this one 2 stars out of 5.
Well, that's it for today. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we'll be reviewing Ridiculous Relay.
I hope it's ridiculous fun.
Me too. Guess you'll have to come back to find out. Hope to see you then.
Best. I'm the best.
Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. Oh man, we've got a ridiculous one for you today. It's the 1 vs 3 minigame Ridiculous Relay. And if I'm being honest here, it's not all that ridiculous. You're just trying to finish the race first. If you're the single player, you need to use a control stick to control your speed and direction. Try not to hit too many enemies along the way. If you're on the relay team, each person will have a different combinations of buttons to mash on. Fun stuff. Get to the end first and you win.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a basic relay. There's nothing ridiculous about it. I was hoping for some more twists or turns, but if you're on the team of 3, you're just button mashing.
Yeah, the only ridiculous part about this is that you're playing yet another button mashing minigame.
Tell me about it. If you're the single player, it's actually really hard to dodge all the enemies. Like, impossible. There's no way. There's some spots where there's an enemy going in the middle, above you, and below you, so you just have to hit them.
Yeah, you can slow your speed a little bit, but it really doesn't help. The time it takes you to move up or down takes way too long, so even if you do slow down, you're still gonna hit something anyway. The most ridiculous part about this one was the one player on the team that had to hit a bunch of buttons. It would be like up A, up B, down B, and he had to hit all 4 of them in a row to move a little bit. It was really confusing though because you don't have any visual indication that you're doing well until you hit all 4 buttons. So you end up sitting there for 5 seconds until you hit them all and then you scoot forward a little bit. It makes it feel like you're doing it wrong because you would expect to see some sort of movement every time you finished one of the commands instead of just after you finished all 4 of them.
Yeah, that one was really weird. I also don't understand why they just picked one person to have these crazy controls, but everyone else had really simple controls. Didn't seem that fair.
Yeah, this one might have been better if it was ridiculous for everyone, including the player in the sky. But most people are just button mashing, and the person in the sky is just moving up and down. It's not much ridiculous about that. And overall, that's really the theme of this minigame. If you're the single player, just know that you're definitely going to hit some enemies along the way. You can do your best to try and dodge them, but there's just too many coming at you to do that. And if you're the players on the team, it's basically just a button masher. One of the players does have an odd set of commands that they have to input, and I suppose you could argue that that's a little bit fun just because it's not button mashing, but the fact that you have no visual indication on whether you hit the commands right until you hit all of them holds that one back as well. So we're giving this one 2 stars out of 5.
Well, it's pretty much the score you'd expect for a button masher. That's it for today, though. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we'll be reviewing River Raiders. Sounds like Mario and his friends are gonna be pirates for the day.
Well, that sounds exciting. Let's see if it ends up being that.
Hope to see you then.
I'm the best. Stop!
Hello, and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. There's gold in that there, River. It's all just floating at the surface. I wonder why nobody bothered to grab it before we got there. That's right, today's 1 vs 3 minigame, River Raiders, has each player trying to collect as many coins and bags of coins as they can. There's no real winning or losing in this one, just collecting. If you're the single player, you have most of the power here. You'll be the one deciding where to pull everyone, so do your best to grab as many coins as you can before letting the other 3 snatch up your leftovers. If you're one of the 3 players being pulled behind, you do have a bit of control of where you go, so do your best to grab whatever you can get.
Well, this game was pretty forgettable, I think. There's not really anything special about it. You're just kind of moving around and hoping you get some coins.
Yeah, I mean, that sums it up. Everyone pretty much has the same controls and the same movement and ability to get coins. The only person who's at a slight disadvantage here is that player on the team that's stuck in the middle between the other 2. If your other partners are sticking a little too close to you and not giving you your space, you really don't have any movement available. So that's really disappointing.
Yeah, the best strategy if you're on the team is definitely just to spread out. Everyone on the team shares the same pool of coins at the end, so you really just want to maximize them and not try and hold the other players back by sandwiching them in.
Tell that to the computer players.
Yeah, they got pretty bad at that. The single player definitely has the advantage in this one, just because they can freely move wherever they want. I think every time we played, the single player got way more coins than the entire team did.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even if you hit a log or 2, it doesn't stun you for more than a couple of seconds, so you're pretty much able to get back in there and pick up as many coins as possible.
Yep. So overall, this is a pretty forgettable minigame that you're not going to have a lot of fun playing, but at the end of the day, at least you're leaving with some coins. It's definitely not perfect. The single player has a pretty big advantage since they're in the lead and they can guide everyone else wherever they want to go. And if you're the middle player on the team, it's pretty easy to get sandwiched in between the other players and not be able to grab the coins around you. You just kind of hope that they get them. This isn't all that bad since everyone shares the same pool of coins, but it still gets frustrating. We're giving this one 3 stars out of 5.
Well, that's all for today. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. I love it when I see your support. Next up, we'll be reviewing Rockin' Raceway.
Well, I hope you come back to rock and roll with us.
Hope to see you then.
Stop!
Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. Saddle up, partner, because today we're playing the free-for-all minigame Rockin' Raceway. Each player is on a rocking horse trying to win the race. To do this, you have to mash on the A and B buttons. How fun. But don't go too fast because if your horse runs out of carrots, it will spin out. So time those presses fast enough to win, but slow enough not to do anything dumb. And try your best to grab one of the carrots along the way for an added boost. It's like a horse's version of Mario's invincibility star. Cross the finish line first and you'll win.
This one was interesting because your instinct is to press A and B as fast as you can. So I had kind of a little bit of trouble slowing down. You want to make sure you don't mash them too fast because then you do spin out of control. So it's going against your basic instinct to try and win.
Yeah, this does add a bit of strategy to the regular button masher formula. I would say it's a little better. At least you have something to think about instead of just mindlessly mashing the buttons.
Yeah, it does add more depth.
I also like that the carrots that you found on the track would change from good to bad carrots, so you had to time that out as well. You didn't want to get there when it was a bad carrot because it would cause you to stop for a little bit, and you really want that good carrot because it allows you to just go as fast as you want without worrying about overworking your horse. It gives you a huge advantage.
Oh yeah, it does. I think my favorite parts of this minigame is when I was neck and neck with you, and I got it when it was the good carrot, but you were right next to me and it switched, so you got it when it was the bad carrot, and I gotta watch you spin out of control. It was pretty rewarding when that happened.
Yeah, this one could get pretty intense, especially right at the end if everyone was really close, which happened a few times with us.
Make no mistake though, this was still a button mashing minigame.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying it's an amazing minigame, but I would say it's a little bit better than most of the other mindless button mashers we've played.
I agree.
And overall, that pretty much sums up this minigame. It's not great, but it's better than regular button mashers are. There's some strategy since you can't go too fast without tiring out your horse. And you also want to pick up those carrots on the track before they turn bad, otherwise you'll spin out. If you get a carrot on the track, it gives you a huge advantage that can make or break the race for you. It's still not amazing, but it's okay. We're giving it 3 stars out of 5.
Well, that's it for today. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Also, feel free to leave a comment if you want. We love hearing what you guys have to say and your opinions on these minigames. Next up, we'll be reviewing silly screws. I wonder what else is in the toolbox.
We'll have to bust out our wacky screwdrivers for this one. Come back to watch it with us.
Hope to see you then.
I'm the best.
Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. It's hard for me to imagine inanimate objects as being silly, but Mario Party is here to convince us that some screws have a personality all of their own in this dual minigame, Silly Screws. Each player tries to jump from nut to nut by rotating them either clockwise or counterclockwise. You do this by mashing the A or B buttons, but make sure not to be too overzealous, because if you overshoot, you'll have to reverse them to line them up. Whoever makes it to the end of this downright silly obstacle course of screws will come out victorious in the duel.
This one was actually kind of fun. There was something kind of exciting about it where you would want to go really, really fast and get the nut to go exactly where you want it to. But you also have to be aware that if you go too fast, you're going to overshoot. So you need to try and stop hitting the button before you get there and hope that you kind of estimated how far you would get accurately.
Yeah, you definitely want to focus on accuracy on this one, as well as speed. Just don't go too fast. I think because you're doing the same course as your opponent, it gets really intense because you see you're one screw away and you want to get up there faster, but you also can't make a mistake.
Yeah, if you overshoot or undershoot and don't quite line up to where you need to be, it takes a bit of time to get your momentum going again, so it can really hold you back. And I feel like a lot of times when we played this one, we were pretty neck and neck through the whole thing, so any mistakes can really cost you the game.
Yeah, it got pretty competitive.
I thought that was fun though. You really have to work for your wins in this one.
Yeah, this one was rewarding when you won it because you felt like you actually did something rather than just lucked into it.
Definitely. So overall, this was a pretty fun dual minigame. It's not the most exciting minigame we've ever played, but it is pretty good. You really need to focus on the course and decide if you want to go for speed or accuracy. Speed will obviously get you to the marker quicker, but it also raises your chances of overshooting your marker. It really causes you to think about when you should stop hitting the button so that you kind of glide right up to that marker. And if you ever do overshoot or undershoot, it can really hold you back because it takes time to get your momentum going again. This one was pretty neck and neck every time we played it, which made it really exciting, but it also made you feel like you really had to be accurate on it. That was fun though. We're giving it 4 stars out of 5.
Wow, I can't believe this was our 50th minigame review.
Seems like only yesterday we were playing Mario Party 2.
I know. Well, if you enjoyed this review, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we'll be reviewing Slapdown. Wow, well I hope we make it out of that one.
I hope so. Don't want it to turn into a smackdown.
Guess you'll have to come back to see what happens. Hope to see you then.
Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. Today we're playing the battle minigame Slapdown. As the name implies, this one has everyone slapping each other as hard as you can until there's only one player remaining. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, a flower will be shown in the middle of the screen, and as different flowers around it flip over one by one, your mission is to slap down your giant mechanical hand as soon as you see the matching one. You better be fast or you'll never win this one. Oh, and don't slap down your hand on the wrong flower either, or you'll be out for the rest of the game.
Okay, so this one was actually really fun and really competitive. I thought that if you made a mistake and slapped the wrong flower, you might be stunned for the next round, but you could be back in. Oh no, you're out completely. It makes it really intense to try and get it on the right one.
Yeah, there were several times where I accidentally hit the wrong one. Mostly it was because I would keep my fingers so tense on the button that I would end up pressing it at the wrong moment. But you pretty much have to do that or you won't be fast enough to win.
Well, that and they all kind of look similar. The color combinations aren't that different, so it's easy to think that you see the one you need when you just see one that's similar.
True. If you see one that's blue and you're actually looking for a purple one, it looks similar enough in the heat of the moment to where you might slap down your hand. That happened to me several times as well.
Me too, and it's kind of hard to keep an eye out on what tile's flipping over, so if it flips over, sometimes your instinct is just to press the button because you found it, but that'll get you out too.
Yeah, and you also never know when the real one's gonna flip over. We had a round where it was like the second or third flower to flip over, and we had other rounds where it was like 12 before we found the right flower.
Yeah, it got intense.
But it was definitely really fun.
Yeah, and you need to have quick reactions on this one.
So overall, you'll probably have a pretty good time with this minigame. There's not a whole lot of gameplay to it, but it's still pretty tense. You're really just waiting for the right flower to come up, and then you'll hit the A button once. So while it doesn't sound like a lot, it is actually still really fun. You get really into it and end up making silly mistakes like hitting your hand down on a flower that looks just a little bit similar to the one you're actually looking for, or doing something like pressing the button at the wrong moment just because your finger is so tense above the trigger. This is a pretty fun battle minigame. We're giving it 4 stars out of 5.
Well, that's all we have for you today. If you liked this video and can't get enough of Mario Party, then like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we'll be reviewing Slot Sink.
Wow, I hope it has to do with bathroom sinks. They're so much better than kitchen sinks.
Pretty sure it doesn't have to do with actual sinks.
No, I think you're wrong, but I guess we'll find out next time.
Guess so. Hope to see you then.
Finish!
Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. We're back to play the 2 vs 2 slot sink today. That's sync as in synchronization.
Much to my disappointment going into this one, it has nothing to do with the sinks you wash your hands in.
But that's okay. Maybe it'll still be fun. Each player has a rotating block above their head of different characters and enemies from the Mario games. Your goal as a team is to stop both of your blocks on the same character. If you do this, you'll get points. They all have different values, so try your best to get the most you can. Whoever does wins this minigame.
This minigame was pretty average. It's one of those ones that I didn't really hate or love all that much.
At first I really enjoyed it, but then once we realized that there is a point system and toads were worth the most, it just became a game of trying to hit the toad.
Yeah, it also had another flaw to it that you can kind of game once you know it well enough. The longer you let the block spin, the faster it'll go. But at the beginning, it's slow enough where you can stop it on exactly the block you want as long as you hit it on the first go around. So if you stop it on a toad, you just have to wait for it to rotate fully one time for the toad to come back, and you can hit toad again. Doing this gets you pretty good results where you can just consistently hit toad time after time, and kind of takes away a lot of the challenge to this one.
Yeah, especially if you and your partner make that plan ahead of time.
This also isn't the best one to play with computer players.
Oh yeah.
If you're on a team with another computer player, they always just hit the same block that you do, so it kind of ruins any challenge to this one. As long as you hit the right block every time, they will too.
Yeah, that was kind of a disappointment. I feel like they should have refined it a little bit more, so it became a challenge, because it was just too easy when you hit the right one. You just had the computer player also hit it.
Yeah, it's not much of a team minigame when you're doing all the work and they just follow and do exactly the same thing as you do.
At the same second, too. It was kind of weird.
But if you're playing with 4 human players, you won't experience that.
Just make sure you both plan ahead to hit Toad.
So overall, this minigame's okay, but it's definitely nothing special. The challenge can be fun to try and get the highest amount of points by hitting a toad every time, but you can also game the system by just waiting for it to come around one time. If you land on the toad again, the first spin that the block makes, it's still going slow enough where you'll hit it every time, so there's not really much challenge to it. The only challenge is if you somehow screw up and have to retime things to hit toad next time. And also, the computer players kinda suck in this one. They're set to land on the same block as you do every single time, and it really removes any sort of teamwork that you might have in this one. The game isn't the worst we've played though, it's just not the best. We're giving it 3 stars out of 5.
That's all for today. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we'll be reviewing Snowball Summit. Maybe we'll see the baby penguin from Mario 64.
I hope so, I'd love to throw some snowballs at it. Come back to play it with us.
Hope to see you then.
Finish! Draw! Start!
Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. We're back today for a virtual snowball fight Mario Party style in today's free-for-all minigame Snowball Summit. Each player rolls around balls of snow to throw at other players. Your goal is to hit them off the edge of the summit, which is a bit rougher than your normal real-life snowball fight. The bigger your snowball, the further a player will fly, so try your best to be the last one standing to win this minigame.
This minigame actually reminded me a lot of Bumper Balls, but there was a couple of flaws that made it not as fun.
It does have a lot of similarities. You're really just trying to hit everyone else off the edge. The only difference is how you go about it. I think the big flaw that you're talking about in this one is that you can use your snowball as defense, so if somebody else tries to hit you, it'll just get rid of your snowball instead and nobody will be knocked back.
Yeah, exactly. If I'm holding a snowball and someone else is holding a snowball and we run into each other, both snowballs are negated and nobody gets hit. I feel like that's a flaw.
It makes it so that there's a lot of draws at the end of this one. When it gets down to 2 players, you basically just want to have a snowball. It doesn't matter how big it is or anything. As long as you have one, you'll survive because you won't be able to get hit.
Yeah, I think the best strategy on this one for defense is to always hold a snowball, and for offense is probably to make it as big as possible, because when it's really big and you come up behind someone, they're probably gonna fall off right away.
Yeah, your only hope of winning is to hit someone from behind. But even that can be pretty tough because you move kind of slowly in this one. That's not to say that this isn't any fun though. I did have some fun in this one.
Oh, I did too. I liked it. I just didn't love it.
Yeah, knocking somebody off as they try and build a snowball can be pretty rewarding. It's just too bad that it's held back by the flaws.
And it was fun to see how far someone flew when you hit them with your giant snowball.
Yeah, it was. So overall, this is a lot like Bumper Balls, but just not quite as good. We had way too many draws in this one because once it gets down to 2 players, you just use your snowball as defense and it's really hard to knock either player off the edge. It is pretty fun to build a giant snowball and send somebody flying. You just don't always get an opportunity to do that. You're not going to hate this one, but you probably won't love it either. We're giving it 3 stars out of 5.
Well, that's it for today. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we'll be reviewing Spotlight Swim.
Wow, this is gonna suck. I don't even know how to swim.
I'm sure there'll be life vests available. Actually, there probably won't. Mario Party's pretty ruthless.
Man, I'm just gonna sink like a stone in this one. If you want to see it happen, come back for the next video.
Hope to see you then. Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. Have you ever snuck into a swimming pool after hours and tried to sneak your way around the security guards around you? No? Well, neither have I. At least not until today while playing the 1 vs 3 minigame Spotlight Swim. One player swims around a swimming pool while the other 3 players try to aim their spotlights at them. All 3 of them need to aim their lights at the single player at the same time to win. The single player can also dive under the water for a bit when things get too close for comfort, so use that to your advantage. If the single player survives until the time runs out without getting spotted, they win.
This wasn't bad. I think we both had some fun playing this one, although I will say it's definitely skewed toward the single player. If you're on the team, it's really hard for you to win.
Yeah, having that dive option makes it really nice for the single player because you can dive underwater and they won't know where you're going. And you just pop up wherever and the spotlights take a little bit of time to move, so it makes it pretty easy to get away from them.
Yeah, not to mention that it's really hard to see where the single player is when they're diving underwater. They do release some bubbles every once in a while, but you can easily escape the spotlights, especially considering you only have to escape one of them.
Yeah, I think your instinct when you're on the 3-person team is to spread out and try and search for them, but you also don't want to be too far away from your partners because it does take that time to go back to them if they did find the single player.
Yeah, maybe a good strategy for the team would be to kind of stay close to each other. You don't have to completely overlap, but as long as you're close enough to where you could just quickly move over if you all see the single player, it would probably help a lot.
Yeah, I think so. This one was fun to play, but it does seem like there is an advantage skewed towards a single player.
So overall, it's not the worst minigame we've played. It's just held back by the skewed difficulty level. If you're the single player, you'll probably have a pretty easy time winning this one. Although it's not impossible for the team to win, it's just going to be really challenging. You have to make sure to really work together and never stay too far away from each other since you all have to ultimately end up over the single player. Do your best to follow the bubbles around when they're diving, and get back to them as quickly as you can when they emerge from the water. If you play it well enough, you have a shot. But unfortunately, because it's so skewed toward one side, we're gonna have to give this one 3 stars out of 5.
Well, that's it for today. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we'll be reviewing Stacked Deck.
I hope it's not stacked too high.
Guess you'll have to come back to find out. Hope to see you then.
Finish! Stop!
Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. We're playing with the world's most giant set of cards today with the battle minigame Stacked Deck. It's a simple concept. Each card has either a Toad, Boo, or Baby Bowser on it. If you get a Toad, you stay in for another round. A Boo will switch up the order the players go in, and a Baby Bowser will knock you completely out of the game. The last player standing will win this battle minigame.
This one was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we've played a lot of minigames like this, but unfortunately most of them don't stand up to Bowser's Big Blast. That one's definitely been the most fun of the bunch so far. However, I would say this is pretty much equally as fun as Bowser's Big Blast.
Me too. It feels a little less intense though because there are more cards to choose from than there were plungers to pull in Bowser's Big Blast, but it's still really fun.
Yeah, I mean, you do start off with more good cards than you did in Bowser's Big Blast, but there's also more bad cards. That one just had one plunger that would cause you to die, but this one starts off with several Baby Bowser cards, so you never know what you're gonna get.
True. And I really liked the Boo cards. I feel like it was a nice change of pace.
Yeah, it was always kind of bittersweet to get one of those. On the one hand, at least you live to play another round, but on the other hand, the order might change to make you go again sooner than you would have before. There were times when somebody would get a Boo card and the order would change so that they immediately had to go again. That always made it more tense.
Yeah, but I liked it.
Overall, I think both of us really like this one. If you like these random mini games, you'll be pretty happy with this one. It might be a little less intense to start off with than something like Bowser's Big Blast, because you are starting off with more good cards to draw. However, the flip side of that is that there's also more bad cards to draw right from the beginning, so you never know what you're gonna get. There's not much action to this one, but it's still pretty tense and fun. We're giving it 4 stars out of 5.
Well, that's it for today. If you enjoyed this video and really enjoy Mario Party content, then like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we'll be reviewing Storm Chasers. Whoa, I wonder what we're gonna find. Hurricane? Tornado? Tsunami?
I guess we'll have to find out.
Hope to see you then.
I'm the best. Stop!
Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. When you think of Storm Chasers, what do you think of? Tornadoes? Hail the size of golf balls? Rain that limits your vision to a foot in front of you? Well, today's minigame is here to show you that it's possible to make anything boring if you try hard enough. We're playing the battle minigame Storm Chasers. Each player has a potted piranha plant that desperately needs some nourishment. Unfortunately, we're in a desert with only a single finicky rain cloud. Your task is to chase the cloud around to give your piranha plant some chugs. Whoever is able to spend the most time underneath the rain cloud will win the minigame.
So yeah, I think it's safe to say this wasn't one of the best minigames we've ever played.
It really wasn't. I feel like it was really hard to tell how well you were doing during this minigame.
Yeah, there's no sort of visual indication on when your piranha plant is getting water or not. After the game is over, everyone's piranha plants grow, which is a good way to keep the tension up in a battle minigame since you don't know who's going to win. But it would have been nice if you could have seen that growth while you were actually playing.
It was supposed to flash when you got a lot of water, but the cloud moved so fast and there was too many players right underneath it all the time that I don't think anyone really got that much water in one go.
Yeah, I feel like I rarely ever saw mine flash. It's just too chaotic. But that's another problem with this one. The cloud is so small that everyone is just jumping around and bumping into each other. It's hard to really feel satisfied with the gameplay when everything is so hectic like this.
Normally, I feel like we like chaotic and hectic minigames, especially when they're tense battle minigames, but it just wasn't done in a fun way. It felt like most of the time you were just running into everyone and you couldn't really get to where you were trying to go, and the rain cloud moved so fast that it didn't even feel like you were underneath it when you were underneath it.
Yeah, I feel like they could have definitely improved this one by making the rain cloud bigger, or maybe just having multiple rain clouds. If everyone had a reason to be more spread out, it would be a lot more satisfying to play, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
So overall, this is just another middling minigame for Mario Party. Sometimes you have those minigames that aren't horrible to play, but just don't do anything that special and have too many flaws to keep them from being 4 or 5 stars. This is one of them. The concept could be fun if it was better executed, but unfortunately the cloud is so small that everyone is constantly just bumping into each other. And since you have no visual indication on how you're doing while you're playing, it leaves you with an empty feeling where you're just kind of going through the motions. For a battle minigame, it should be a lot more tense than this one. We're giving it 3 out of 5 stars.
Well, that's it for today. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Less than 10% of you are actually subscribed. What are you doing?
Wow, I rate you guys 1 star out of 5.
I think you can do better than that. Well, next up, we'll be reviewing Swing and Swipe. I have a feeling this might be an item minigame.
We'll come back to find out.
Hope to see you then.
Finish! I'm the best.
Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. It's time to go on a looting rampage in today's item minigame Swing and Swipe. A bunch of baby Bowsers have come to present us with treasures in an apparent attempt to seal the gap between them and Mario's gang. Unfortunately, sometimes the hate runs too deep to fix, so your job is to swing a hammer at baby Bowser to get whichever item is inside the treasure chest. While the rest of them run away in fear for their lives, you're free to pick up your reward and leave unscathed.
Wow, this is probably the easiest item minigame you'll ever play.
Yeah, we've played other item minigames that are really easy to get items in, but this one's on a whole other level. It's all but impossible to leave without an item. You have to really be trying to suck.
That and the Bowsers don't move very fast and they don't mix the items up. So it's next to impossible to not get the item you want.
Exactly. This is basically just an excuse to give a player an item. They could have done so much to make this more competitive and less just like a gimme minigame. Maybe the treasure chest could have been mixed up at the beginning so you weren't quite sure where each item was. Or maybe the baby Bowsers could just move a lot quicker so that you really had to work to get your item. But as is, it's pretty easy to walk away with whatever you want.
That being said, it is kind of nice to have your pick of whatever item you want.
Yeah, if you're the player that gets to play this one, it's your lucky day because you're going to be leaving with whatever item you want. So overall, just like most item minigames, this one's not that great. It's nice to get pretty much a free item, but even compared to other item minigames, this one's extremely easy. The baby Bowsers are slow, and you know exactly where each item is. All you have to do is run towards them and hit A. There's really no way to lose this one unless you're really trying hard. If you're one of the players that's watching somebody else get a free item, you might not like this one as much, but we're still giving it 2 stars out of 5. At least you get an item.
Well, that's it for today. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we'll be reviewing Swinging with Sharks.
Wow, another swinging minigame? We're on a roll.
Yeah, you'd think they'd say swimming with sharks. I don't know why we're swinging.
Well, we'll have to find out next time.
Hope to see you then. Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. Well, Mario Party has officially jumped the shark in today's item minigame, Swinging with Sharks. You find yourself swinging over a body of water filled with sharks, one of which has apparently been trained by Baby Bowser so he can ride it like a horse. That's cool. Your goal is to jump off the swing at just the right moment to land on your ideal item. If your swinging goes wrong though, you'll fall into the water and leave with nothing. Better hope the sharks aren't hungry.
Well, it's another item minigame.
And you know how we love those.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever really played a great one of these.
They're never that fun to play, but it's always nice if you can get an item, I guess.
Yeah, and I will say that you have a pretty solid chance of getting an item in this one. It's not guaranteed like it was in yesterday's Swing and Swipe, but I would say we definitely left with one most of the time.
Yeah, I feel like you have a pretty solid chance of getting an item. There were a couple of times I fell in the water, and honestly, I don't know why, because I didn't do anything different. But I guess something changed. Must have been the strength of the wind or something.
Yeah, I think the fact that you can fall in between the different item platforms is kind of a mistake for this one. It's already hard enough to land exactly where you want to, but having to deal with falling through the tiny little cracks between items is pretty unforgivable, I think.
Yeah, and I think it makes it a little too finicky. Like, you don't really know when you should jump or not because you don't want to fall between the cracks. And it is a little challenging to land on the item you want.
Yeah, you have to be pretty skillful to have the accuracy to land on the exact platform you're looking for.
I don't even know if it's skillful. I feel like most of it is just random.
You might be right.
I guess that's the constant debate of Mario Party.
I have heard that debate once or twice. So overall, this is another item minigame. It's not great, but at least you might get an item. I wouldn't say it's hard to leave with an item, it just might not be the one you want. It's really difficult to judge when you should jump to land on the item platform that you're looking for, and it's made all the more difficult by the fact that you can actually fall in between the different platforms. So if you're going after a certain item, your timing has to be extremely precise. I don't know if it's really even possible though. This minigame isn't that fun, but at least you have a pretty good chance at an item. We're giving it 2 stars out of 5.
Well, that's it for today. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Wow, can you believe we only have 10 minigames left to review?
Holy cow, time flies.
I know. Well, next up for one of the final few reviews is The Beat Goes On.
Ooh, a music minigame. These are my favorite.
They're never my favorite, though.
Yeah, you have no rhythm at all.
It's true. Guess you'll have to come back to see how poorly I do. Hope to see you then.
Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. Boop,
Boop, boop,
boop, boop, boop,
boop, boop, boop, boop.
boop, 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 boop.
What are we doing?
We're playing today's minigame in real life. It's a free-for-all minigame called The Beat Goes On. Everyone takes turns playing the drums by hitting the buttons in order and then adding on one more button press at the end. So every time somebody goes, the pattern will get longer and longer. If you mess up and hit the wrong button, you're out, and whoever is the last one playing wins.
Okay, so I actually found this one pretty challenging.
It was challenging, but in a pretty fun way, I thought. Of course, that might just be me because I like rhythm minigames.
No, I thought this one was fun too. I don't think you had to have that much rhythm. It was just hard to memorize all the buttons. But that's kind of the challenge that made it fun.
It's also what made it hard. There's no second chances in this one. If you hit one wrong button, you're out.
Oh yeah, that was really cutthroat. There's no coming back.
And especially later on in the minigame when there's 8 or 12 buttons to remember, it gets extremely difficult. You have to have really good memorization for this one.
Yeah, you really do. And in the beginning, I didn't do a very good job at all. I thought it was really challenging. But then you told me your strategy.
Yeah, I started making words out of the buttons. So you use A, B, and Z, so if the button presses were B-A-Z, Z-A-B, in my head I would say like Baz-Zab or something like that. It's a good way to remember them without having to remember so many things.
As soon as I started doing that, I started doing way better. So I definitely recommend that strategy.
I think that is the secret to this one. But really, there's no huge flaws in this one. It's a pretty good mini game. I wouldn't say it's one of the best, but we definitely liked it a lot.
Yeah, if it popped up, I'd want to play it.
Overall, you'll probably like this one, especially if you like rhythm mini games. It's kind of a mix between timing and memorization. You have to hit the button on the beat, but you also have to know which button to hit. It can be challenging because if you make one mistake, you're out. The best strategy we found is to make little words out of the buttons. You can take 3 or 6 button presses and merge them into one word. That's way easier to remember. It doesn't ruin this minigame though. It's still a lot of fun. We're giving it 4 stars out of 5.
Well, that's it for today. If you enjoyed our video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we'll be reviewing 3-Door Monty. Do you think that means Monty Mole is in this one?
I hope not. He's always throwing things at me. But I guess we'll find out.
Hope to see you then.
Finish! I'm the best.
Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. I hope your memory and reflexes are good because today's minigame will challenge them both. It's the battle minigame, 3-Door Monty. You'll follow a Toad, Koopa, and a Boo as they all run into the doors. Once they're all inside, the game will ask you to hit a button corresponding to the door one of the characters went into, and whoever does it first will win the minigame. Is this minigame adorable or deplorable? Let's find out!
Answer? This minigame's kinda somewhere in between, as a lot of Mario minigames often are. It is kind of fun, but it's kind of over too quick to really be all that exciting.
Yeah, when we started playing, I thought it was gonna be more than one round, but it was just the one, and it went by so fast.
Yeah, I definitely thought this one would last longer too. If they did something like Locked Out, where one person was left behind in each round, I think that would have been a lot more fun, and a lot more rewarding.
Yeah, I think it would have made us more invested in the minigame.
Plus, you would have still had a chance as long as you weren't the slowest. There was a lot of times where it came down to literally like 1 or 2 milliseconds between 2 people. But as long as you were one of the first 2 or 3 fastest people, you could still potentially move on. That would have been nice.
Yeah, I was surprised at how close we were most of the time. I had a strategy where I put my finger over the Z button, lightly covering it, and then on my thumb, I covered either the A or the B button, so I had a 2/3 chance of not even having to move any fingers. So I think that strategy made me a little bit quicker.
That's probably a pretty good strategy. For most of the time I played, I would have my thumb kind of resting on both the A and B buttons, which you could argue gave me a better chance since I was covering all the buttons. But because this comes down to whoever's fastest, most of the time I would lose. By the time I got over to the right button, you or one of the computer players would have already beat me to it, so I think your strategy is the way to go. You might have to move your thumb, but the majority of the time, you'll be ready to go.
Yeah, the only drawback for my strategy was that sometimes I thought my thumb was on one button, but it was really on the other, so I pressed it too quick to even look. So I did have a few wrong guesses.
Well, I guess the strategy does have a drawback. Overall, this minigame's okay. It doesn't have any real flaws besides the fact that it's over too quick. It would be nice if there was multiple rounds with everyone but the slowest person moving on to the next one, but unfortunately it doesn't do that. It is rewarding to see how fast your time is at the end. I think one time you did it in 25 milliseconds, which is insanely fast, I think. That's pretty cool to see. But other than that, this isn't going to leave a strong impression on you. We're going to give it 3 stars out of 5.
Well, that's it for today. If you enjoyed our video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. There's only a handful of minigames left for Mario Party 3, and you don't want to miss out. Next up, we'll be reviewing Thwomp Pull.
Wow, a whole pool full of thwomps? Scary.
I said pull, not pool.
Oh, a pole of thwomps? Like a totem pole?
No, pull.
I don't get it. I'm gonna have to wait and play this one.
Guess you'll have to come back to see what this one's about. Hope to see you then.
Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. Today's minigame is the 1 vs 3 Thwomp Pool. We all know that there are no wolves or snow dogs in the Mario universe. The closest thing they have is Yoshi. Unfortunately, Yoshi's got a mind of his own, so when it comes to pulling sleds, Thwomps are used instead. The single player hits the A, B, and Z buttons as they come up to move. On the team, each player is assigned one of those buttons to hit whenever it comes up. Watch out for the snowballs being thrown from the sides and get to the end first to win.
I felt like being on the team of 3 was kind of boring. Like you only had to hit the button a handful of times. It didn't feel very intense being on that side.
Yeah, most of the time you're not really doing anything except waiting for your time to shine. It's really like the board game part of Mario Party where you're only doing something when your time comes up, and other than that, you're just sitting there. It kind of sucks though, because these mini-games are usually the time when you look forward to actually being able to play.
Yeah, and there's not really much you can do besides press the button as soon as it pops up, and then that's it. So it's kind of boring. Being the single player was more fun, but even then, I didn't really enjoy it.
It's not bad. This type of minigame where you have to hit the buttons in a certain order can be fun sometimes. I just think it's been better executed than this one. It just doesn't really stand out at all.
I agree. I think one thing they were trying to do to make it more challenging was to add in the snowballs to avoid, but at the same time, you have to press the button when it pops up, so they're kind of unavoidable.
Yeah, I really never worried about those. If they hit me, they hit me. And overall, that's about all we have to say about this one. It's okay, but it's definitely not the best. If you're the single player, it can be fun to try and hit all the buttons as fast as you can. But if you're on the team, it's kind of boring since you're only hitting the buttons really occasionally. They tried to throw in some challenge with the snowballs that come down, but it doesn't really do much to help this one. We're giving it 3 stars out of 5.
Well, that's it for today. If you enjoyed our video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we'll be reviewing TikTok Hop. I didn't think Mario was on TikTok.
Hey, don't tell people that. You're gonna push them away before they subscribe to us.
Okay, well, subscribe to us and then come back tomorrow to see what TikTok Hop is about. Hope to see you then. Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. You know, sometimes time seems like it's just flying by. It gets faster, then slower, and occasionally moves backwards. Or maybe that's just the clock in today's dual minigame, TikTok Hop. It's a simple one. Both players stand on top of the first hand and have to hop over the second hand whenever it comes around. Whichever player survives the longest and stands the test of time will win this minigame.
This one was a lot of fun. I think we both enjoyed this one a lot.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's one of those really intense ones, especially since it's a dual minigame. You really want to win.
Yeah, this one got my hands all sweaty. It starts off kind of slow, and you're thinking, this will be easy, no big deal, all I have to do is jump over the second hand. But then by rotation 4, it really starts to pick up speed, and that's when things get really intense.
Yeah, it does a lot of tricky things. It'll have the second hand change directions, or sometimes the minute and second hand will both change directions and go their own ways. You never know what it's going to throw at you. There's a lot of times when I think I'm about to die and I end up jumping just in time to stay in.
Or sometimes I jump a little too early because sometimes I'm too anxious and just want to make it to the other hand.
Yeah, definitely. It also kind of plays with your mind that you can't jump at the same time as the other person. Since it's a circle and one of you is further outside on the circle than the other, the one closer to the inside will have to jump a split second earlier to make it. When you see the other person jump, it makes you want to jump, but you have to hold off and jump at the right time for yourself.
Yeah, that made it a little bit tricky too.
Overall, we both thought this one was great. It's one of those intense Mario Party games that you come here to play. It's a simple concept, but one that really stands the test of time. We're giving it 5 out of 5 stars.
Woohoo! It's been a while since we had one of those.
Yeah, we really needed it.
Well, that's it for today. If you enjoyed our video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we'll be reviewing Title Toss.
Sounds like Mario Party is about to make some waves with this one.
Ha ha ha.
Well, if you want to see what this minigame's like, come back to watch it.
Hope to see you then.
I'm the best.
Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. Have you ever heard the saying that sometimes the tiniest of jumps on a little wooden boat can create the biggest of ripples? At least I think that's how the saying goes. I forget now. But today we're playing the 1 vs 3 minigame Title Toss. One player is in a tiny wooden boat, and whenever they jump or ground pound, they'll create waves. If you're one of the other players, your only goal is to jump over the waves as they reach you and try not to get pushed off the edge. If any of the players on the team survive, they win. If not, the single player wins.
This was an interesting minigame. Being on the team of 3, there was a little bit more strategy than I expected. At first, your instinct is to get as far away from the boat as possible, but really, it's more helpful if you can get closer to it. You have the option to move around as you jump, so it kind of works in your favor to get close to the boat, so when you get pushed back, you have more room to go. So I would first keep that in mind when you're playing.
Yeah, there's benefits and drawbacks to both sides. If you stay close, you have less time to react to a wave, but you won't necessarily get pushed back all the way off the edge either. However, if you're further back, you'll have more time to react, but you'll probably fall off the edge if you get hit. You really have to decide which way is best for you.
And being on that team of 3, when you get hit by a wave, you're stunned for a moment. So you can kind of use that to your advantage as well. If you get stunned, you might not have to worry about jumping over the next wave. However, if you do get stunned and you don't jump over the next wave in time, then you could end up falling off.
Yeah, sometimes I would get stunned on purpose. If the single player is making a bunch of tiny little ripples, I would get hit on purpose after a few of them because I knew that they were probably about to hit us with a giant wave. And if I'm stunned from a small wave, I'll barely be knocked back and I won't have to worry about avoiding the big wave.
Yeah, there's definitely some strategy you can do when you're on the team of 3. That being said, when you're the player by yourself, you have some strategy too. If you just jump, you can send lots of little waves. Or if you ground pound, you can only send a few giant waves. So picking the quantity of the waves you want to do and how big you want them to be can help you strategize to win.
Yeah, sometimes hitting everyone with a lot of little waves and then creating a big wave as soon as most of them are coming out of their stun state was a pretty good strategy for me.
Yeah, I did that too, and I think it worked pretty well.
So overall, this minigame's okay. We definitely didn't have a ton of fun playing it, but we didn't hate it either. There's some good strategy regardless of which side you're on when you're playing this one. But regardless of that, the actual gameplay of it just isn't very exciting. So we're giving it 3 stars out of 5.
Well, that's it for today. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Wow, we're down to our final 5 minigames of Mario Party 3. I can't believe it's almost over. Well, next up, we'll be reviewing Toadstool Titan.
Wow, sounds like a pretty big minigame.
Guess you'll have to come back to find out.
Hope to see you then.
Finish.
Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. Up today is the free-for-all minigame, Toadstool Titan. And no, the Toadstool Titan doesn't refer to Princess Peach. Instead, each player hits blocks above their heads to find the one mushroom hidden within. Getting a mushroom will cause you to grow big enough to knock all the other players out of the game. However, it only lasts for a few seconds, so use your time wisely. If 2 or more players are still in the game when the effects of the mushroom wears off, a new round begins with a new hidden mushroom. Whoever is the last player standing wins the minigame. Just try not to get sick from eating too many mushrooms.
Well, this game was kind of interesting.
Yeah, it was. I feel like it had the makings of a really fun minigame, but it didn't quite line up.
Yeah, it definitely could have been a lot better, I think. It was a cool concept to try and have to find the mushroom before anyone else did. It makes that part of it pretty tense.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I just felt like it was kind of hard to hit the blocks. And by that I mean it was a little challenging to line yourself up underneath them and make sure you were hitting them.
Yeah, that was a little bit annoying, especially because you were trying to go really fast.
And I felt like the angle was just a little off for that. I'm not sure, it just wasn't great.
Yeah.
And then once you did find the mushroom, you had to make sure you jumped up and hit it right away because otherwise someone might steal it from you.
Yeah, I actually like that they let somebody else steal it. As soon as you see it come out of a box, everyone runs over to try and get it before the person that found it.
Yeah, I don't know why, I just didn't think you could do that, and then I got it stolen from me and I was so mad! But it does add an extra layer of fun to this one.
I think something about the way this game moves is kind of weird. Not like your controller movement, but just the flow of the game. Like everyone will start jumping up and trying to find the mushrooms, and then somebody will get the mushroom and then be really big for like 3 seconds. And then everything resets and you kind of have to pause and then it starts over again. I don't know, it's just kind of strange to me.
Yeah, I felt like I spent a lot of time waiting around. I think the flow of the game could have been better and a little bit more fast-paced would have made it more fun.
Me too. But overall, it's not a horrible minigame. I think both of us had some fun with it. When you find the mushroom and you get to be huge and hit everyone else, it's pretty rewarding. It's just held back by a few little weird quirks. The camera angle makes it a little bit tough to hit the blocks, and the flow of the gameplay is also just kind of odd. You find yourself standing there for a little too long, but it could definitely be worse. So we're still giving it 3 stars out of 5.
Well, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed our video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we'll be reviewing Treadmill Grill. I didn't think you could barbecue on a treadmill.
Oh yeah, you definitely can. That friction heats up the food quick.
I wonder what we'll be eating in the next minigame.
We'll find out.
Hope to see you then.
I'm the best.
Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. It's time to burn off a bit of fat with today's free-for-all minigame Treadmill Grill. The players find themselves on a group of moving treadmills that slowly get smaller and smaller as the game goes on. And to make matters worse, Potoboo flames pop up as well, just to keep you on your toes. But you're not completely defenseless. You can punch or ground pound the other players to knock them into the flames or off the edge. It's survival of the fittest in this minigame, and whoever becomes the fittest player by running on the treadmills longest will win.
I had fun playing this minigame, but I don't think the reason I fell off most of the time was because of the other players. I thought maybe getting punched by other players would make me fall off more, but mostly it was my own fault, either falling off the edge or running into the Potoboos.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like punching wasn't really that useful at all. Everyone's moving so quick that it's tough to even hit someone, and even if you do, it doesn't really send them back that much. It was kind of useless and I stopped using it.
Yeah, I feel like ground pounding people was more effective, but also that was pretty risky too. When you ground pounded another player, the chances that you would get pushed back a little bit and fall off were pretty high, or you would land into one of the flames. So it came with its own risk.
Yeah, but like you said, it was definitely more useful. If you did end up ground pounding someone, it could cause the end of the game for them. It'll stun you for a few seconds, and because the conveyor belts are constantly moving, there's a pretty good chance that they would just fall off the edge, or that a Potoboo flame would come over and knock them out.
I did like how random the Potoboo flames were though. I feel like having those pop up anywhere made it pretty challenging, because you're trying to stay away from the other players and stay on the treadmill, but then all of a sudden there's a Potoboo flame, so you gotta dodge that.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot to concentrate on, but it was a good challenge. So overall, this is a pretty fun minigame with a little bit too many flaws to make it truly great. It's definitely fun to try and survive and not fall off the edge or hit the Potoboos, and it's also really rewarding to ground pound people and cause them to die. However, punching is pretty much useless, and ground pounding is also extremely risky. A lot of the times ground pounding caused us to die instead of the people we were going after, so you have to really make sure that you're in a good spot to do it. It's not a bad minigame, and it's one of the ones that I think could be really great if they bring it back in the next Mario Party. But unfortunately in this one, it's only getting 3 stars out of 5.
Well, that's it for today. If you enjoyed our video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. If you've already subscribed, thank you so much. We really appreciate your support. If you haven't yet, what are you doing? Please subscribe. Next up, we'll be reviewing Vine with Me. Do you think Mario's gonna learn how to do the grapevine?
Is that a dance?
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll have to find out.
Hope to see you then. Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. Hey, I've got a question to ask you. Do you want to Vine with me? Well, you don't have a choice because up today is the dual minigame Vine with Me. Both players have to get to the other side of a nasty group of piranha plants by jumping from swinging vines. But watch your timing because if you don't do it right, you'll fall into the piranha plants below and be seriously delayed. Whoever jumps their way to the end first wins.
You know, this minigame kind of annoyed me to play. I don't want to say that it's completely unfun. It was just kind of frustrating at times.
Yeah, that's true. I think the key to this minigame is to keep up the momentum. I felt like I did the best when I just kept hitting A and going from vine to vine as quick as possible, rather than pausing and waiting for the right moment to jump on the vine.
Yeah, sometimes that will kind of screw you over. However, other times you have to wait because the vine you're trying to jump to next is swinging in the opposite direction as you. But if you have the right amount of momentum, you can actually skip one vine and jump onto the next one.
Yeah, that's true. There's a couple really short vines and I feel like just avoid those. Just go straight into the long ones. That being said, some of the vines do swing in opposite directions and sometimes their movement isn't what you would expect.
Yeah, I noticed that. I also didn't like that when you would fall off and come back up, sometimes you would have to wait 2 or 3 swings for the vines to line up in a way that let you jump off again.
Yeah, I feel like there's something a little off with those physics.
Definitely. But it was rewarding to get a good run of swings in and just jump from vine to vine. It was fun at times. And overall, that's kind of the theme of this minigame. It's fun at times and frustrating at others. It's nice to get a good run of swings in, but if you ever fall off, you're really held back. There's also some weird issues with the momentum where you'll think you're on track to hit the next vine and you'll end up missing it. It's not a horrible minigame, but it's kind of forgettable. We're giving it 3 stars out of 5.
Well, that's it for today. If you enjoyed our video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we'll be reviewing our second to last minigame of Mario Party 3, Water World.
Wow, I'm a little scared for this one. I can't swim.
Yeah, we really gotta teach you how to do that one of these days. Well, I guess you have to come back to watch it to see if Mario knows how to swim. Hope to see you then.
Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. What if the entire world was covered in water? If it was, it would make sense that humans would have evolved much differently. In fact, it's entirely possible that instead of normal bodies like we have now, we would instead be nothing more than a head on top of a motorboat body. Today's minigame gives us a glimpse into this crazy alternate reality. It's the free-for-all minigame Water World. Each player is a head on top of a motorboat racing through 5 laps to win the minigame. To do this, you use the control stick to steer and A to accelerate. Are you ready to play Water World with us and see what a water world might be like? Here we go.
There was definitely a learning curve on this minigame for me. At first when I started to play, somehow I ended up going the wrong way. I don't even know what happened. But as we played it more and more, I got a little bit better. I think the trick with this one is to not turn the control stick too much because then you just turn around.
Yeah, it's definitely kind of confusing. Because of the overhead perspective, you have to turn the control stick left for both turns, even though in one of them you're going up and around and the other one you're going down and around. I think it's confusing for your brain, and it's really easy to get turned around.
Yeah, I think that's what happened to me. I think the best strategy is to take the corners as tight as possible because that's what's going to get you ahead. The course is so tight that it's really hard to pull ahead and get a lead from the other players, but taking the corners tight is the only way to really do that.
Yeah, my strategy was to start turning before the actual turn. If you do it a little bit early, you'll take the turn a lot tighter than you would normally. It helps you pull out ahead.
That, and I think you should only move the control stick around the corners. The rest of the time, don't touch it. But I had a bit of a hard time with this one, so maybe don't take my advice.
Yeah, and I will say it was a little bit annoying when everyone got kind of all clumped up together. Because it's so hard to pull out into a big lead, everyone is mostly in the same spot, and then you get all confused on where you're going, and you start turning at the wrong times and get turned around, and you can't make a good tight turn.
Yeah, that was really frustrating too.
So overall, this wasn't our favorite minigame. The angle of the camera combined with the confusing controls makes this one a hard one to play. Even if you know what you're doing, it's easy to get turned around. It also doesn't help having all the players so close to each other. That just makes it even tougher. So we're giving this one 2 stars out of 5.
Well, that's it for today. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. We also love to read your comments too, so feel free to leave those. Next up is our last minigame of Mario Party 3, Winner's Wheel. Guess this wheel is just for me then.
Well, I guess we'll have to see about that.
Hope to see you then.
I'm the best.
Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. Well, we finally made it to our last official Mario Party 3 minigame. But don't worry, there's plenty more to come. We still have some bonus minigames to talk about, as well as our videos for what we think Mario Party 3's best and worst minigames are. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Today we're playing the item minigame, Winner's Wheel. It's kind of unfortunate to go out on a single player item minigame. It doesn't exactly put the party in Mario Party, and these item minigames are rarely ever fun. But hey, it is called Winner's Wheel. Maybe it'll live up to its name and be a winner. Let's find out!
Nope, it's not a winner. It's another item minigame and there's nothing special about it.
Yep. I mean, you pretty much always get an item, so that's nice. It was very hard to get a Bowser because the odds are so low.
Yeah, it was. I think we only saw it once or twice when we played, and we played quite a few times.
Yeah, and the wheel spins really fast, so it's really hard to choose what item you want.
Yeah, the wheel keeps spinning after you hit the button, but we found out that it just makes one more full rotation. So if your reflexes are fast enough, try and hit it on whichever item you want. Then when it circles back around, it'll land on that one.
Yeah, that was good to know. Well, I think this review is going to be pretty short and sweet.
Yeah, at this point, there's not a whole lot to say about these item minigames. They're all more or less the same. And overall, that's really the main message to this one. It's more of the same. If you've played any of the other item minigames, you know what you're getting here. It's not a whole lot of fun, but chances are pretty good you'll leave with an item. It can be hard leaving with the one you want, but as long as you know exactly when to stop the wheel, it is possible. But as far as minigames go, this one's just not that fun. We're giving it 2 stars out of 5.
Well, that's it for our last review of Mario Party 3 minigames. If you enjoyed this video, or any of our other videos, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we'll be reviewing the bonus minigame, Dizzy Dingies. It's always fun to see what minigames you can unlock because you don't see those in a normal game of Mario Party.
If you want to see what it's like, come back to join us. Hope to see you then. Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. It's time to play our first bonus minigame in Mario Party 3 with the single-player Dizzy Dingies. To unlock this one, you'll have to unlock every other minigame in Mario Party 3. If you remember our recent video reviewing Waterworld, you already have an idea what you're getting into here. You're once again ahead on top of a motorboat, but instead of racing the other players to the finish line, you're trying to get to the finish in the least amount of time possible. You have your choice of 3 different motorboats and 3 different courses to play with, but is the variety enough to make this worth your effort unlocking it?
I did really like the variety in this minigame. It made it more fun to play. I think my favorite course was Course 3 because it was a little bit more narrow, so it was easier to control.
Yeah, Course 3 was my favorite too. It was the most challenging and it had the most twists and turns, but I liked that. Course 1 is definitely the easiest, and Course 2 is in between Course 1 and 3, but they're all pretty fun. I also liked that they had 3 different vehicles to choose from. One of them had tighter turning, the other one had a higher speed, and the third one was a middle ground between those two. So whatever your playstyle is, there's a boat for you.
I think I had the most fun playing with the non-slip boat. That's the one that takes the turns tighter. I thought that was more fun to control.
Especially on course 3, it definitely helped out a lot. You might think you should go for a higher speed to get a better time, but when there's so many twists and turns, having better control over your boat can actually go a longer way towards reducing your time.
Yeah, that's true. It was fun to play the different courses and choose the different boats to play on them. If you guys have unlocked this game, leave us a comment below and let us know what your favorite courses are and your favorite boats. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, and overall I would say that it's worth the effort to unlock this one. It's not the best minigame out there, but it will give you some fun times. Even though it's a lot like Waterworld, controlling it is a lot easier in this one just because of the way the camera is angled behind your boat instead of on top of it. There's a nice variety in it, and it's a fun time waster to try and lower your fastest time on each course. It's still not the most fun we've had in Mario Party 3, but it's enjoyable. We're giving it 3 stars out of 5.
Well, that's it for today. If you enjoyed this bonus minigame review, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we'll be reviewing the bonus minigame, Stardust Battle.
And that'll be our absolute last minigame we play in Mario Party 3, so be sure to come back and watch it with us.
Hope to see you then. Hello and welcome to another Mario Party 3 minigame review. We have another bonus minigame for you today. We're playing the single-player Stardust Battle. This one is actually the final stage of Mario Party 3's story mode, and it very much plays like a final battle. You're going up against the Millennium Star. The battle takes place through 3 rounds, with each changing up the ground in different ways. It's normal at first, then gets harder to walk when the floor turns to thick, shiny sludge, and then icy during the final round. They'll shoot down several star meteors at you, and your task is to pick one up and hit them with it. But be careful, if you pick them up too soon, they'll be too hot and you'll lose. Depending upon which difficulty you're playing on, the amount of hits it takes will vary. Easy takes 1 hit per round, normal 2, and both hard and super hard take 3. If you can hit the Millennium Star during all 3 rounds and before the timer hits 3 minutes, you'll win the minigame. And the game.
Well, this one was definitely challenging, but I suppose that makes sense in the context of the game. You're playing this as your final battle at the end of story mode, so I think it has to be challenging.
Yeah, I thought it was really challenging. At first, it took me a really long time to even get through the first round.
Yeah, same. I think we both played it quite a few times before we were able to get all the way to the end.
But that's what a final boss battle should be like. It shouldn't be too easy that you can just breeze right through it.
No, definitely not. I will say that I thought it was kind of hard to pick up the stars, though.
Yeah, I did too. You have to do it before they disappear, but you can't do it too soon.
Yeah, and sometimes it was difficult to tell if I was close enough to pick it up. I would think I was, and then I would miss it, and then it would disappear before I could try again. It was a little annoying.
I think that part of the game could be refined.
I also had some other issues kind of related to the camera where I would hit into the Millennium Star accidentally because I thought he was further away than he actually was. That was also frustrating, especially because of the 3-minute time limit. It doesn't kill you to hit into him, but you lose your star and then you have to wait to get another one.
Speaking of the 3-minute timer, I think it's really interesting that they added that. I feel like that's a true element of a Mario Party minigame, and it was interesting to see it on a boss battle.
Yeah, this definitely could have been played without a timer, but I suppose I just wanted to make it even more challenging. The only real strategy I found that helped me with this one was to run around in a circle along the outer edge of the ground while the star meteors were falling down. That way you would be sure that none of them would hit you. Whenever there was only 2 or 3 stars left to fall, I would head into the middle and pick up one of the ones that had already cooled off. And the other thing that helped me out was being really quick to throw the first star at the Millennium Star. If you do it quick enough, you have time to grab one of the other star meteors before they disappear. That way you're all ready for the next round, and you don't have to worry about picking up one of the star meteors that comes down.
Oh yeah, that's a great hint.
Yeah, it helped a lot when all you have to do is dodge them, instead of worrying about grabbing one. So overall, this was a pretty good minigame in the context of where it lands in Mario Party 3. As a final battle, it's pretty good. It's not without its flaws. For instance, it could be hard to pick up the stars, but it still had a really good challenge of it, and you had a sense of accomplishment after beating it. If this was played as a regular minigame that came up in Mario Party, it might get a different score, but given its place, we're giving it 4 stars out of 5. It's a good final battle.
Yeah, it was. Well, that's all we have for you today. You've made it all the way through all the Mario Party 3 minigames and the bonus minigame. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Next up, we'll be ranking our top 10 best minigames of Mario Party 3. You'll want to make sure you come back to see that.
Yeah, I'm expecting some good discussion in the comments about this one.
Yeah, I think there's definitely some favorites out there.
We'll make sure to come back and see what our list is like.
Hope to see you then.